County. We're not sure if this is completely related to this shooting that we have been covering since last night near the campus of Emory University, as well as the CDC. But here is what we do know. Hold on. We have that the GBI has identified a 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White of Kennesaw, Georgia, that this person died during the incident. They did also name Officer David Rose with the DeKalb County Police Department, and we do know that that officer died during this situation that was near the CDC and near Emory University. While, like I said, we have not confirmed that Patrick Joseph White was involved with that situation because we got a press release with both names attached. We are leaning toward the fact that they are connected. But as soon as we figure out all the information that we need, we will get that out to you as soon as possible. Until then, I want to get you a quick look at your forecast with Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes. Alex, what can you tell us about our day ahead?
Yeah, Judea, it's going to be largely pretty nice across north and central Georgia. Looking for temperatures here in the 80s through the afternoon. For most of us, notice that we're going to be a bit warmer up in northwest Georgia. That's because we have an easterly breeze today ushering in the cooler air. Well, what does northwest Georgia have to the east of them? That would be the tail end of the Appalachian Mountains. So that breeze not necessarily able to make it over those ridge lines, and that's going to allow the temperatures to get a couple degrees warmer in places like Rome, Calhoun, Dalton, up towards Chattanooga. For the rest of us, 83 in Covington, 84 in Eatonton, 83 over in Athens and in Gainesville, 84 in Thomaston. Here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Just a 10% chance of rain today. Most of us are going to stay dry through the afternoon. Tomorrow that will be up to 30% and then 40% for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Notice I don't have the lightning icon on Monday or Wednesday. I don't think we're going to have necessarily enough energy in our atmosphere. Granted, that is still more than 2 days away, so it's something I'm going to be watching for here, particularly tomorrow morning, to see if I alter that any. But temperatures coming up regardless. 84, 86, 88, 89. That's going to be a little closer to average for this time of year. But Judea, I mentioned it earlier, our average high temperature is 90. We haven't come close to that since the start of the month, and I see us coming close to it as we work our way through the week ahead, but not getting over that number. And anytime we can do that in the month of August, I'll count that as a win.
Sounds good to me. I count it as a win too. No one wants to be super, super hot.
Right.
We'll see what happens ahead of us. But Alex, we are going to get back out to you a little later on. I want to continue our coverage here on this breaking update that we have in, again, that shooting that we have been covering since last night near the campus of Emory University and also near the CDC, that is the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, out here in the Druid Hills, Decatur area of Georgia. So before we got our weather, I let you know that the GBI just told our newsroom that they have identified a Patrick Joseph White, a 30-year-old man from Kennesaw, as someone who died during this particular incident. They did not specify whether he was the suspect or just somebody killed. However, as of last night, we did learn that only 2 people had been killed during this incident, the suspect and police officer, and police officer David Rose. So speaking of David Rose, we also learned that this morning flags will be flying at half staff for Officer Rose. He was a 33-year-old who was shot and killed Friday during an active shooter situation at a CVS across from the CDC near Emory University. We learned that he started working with the DeKalb County Police Department just in September of 2024. So you guys, he was fresh. He was serving in the North Central Precinct, and unfortunately, Officer Rose leaves behind a wife, 2 children, and he had a 3rd child on the way. There was a statement released by DeKalb County CEO Lorraine Cochran. I do want to get that up to you guys. Let me read just a little bit of it. This evening, she put this out last night. This evening, there's a wife without a husband, 3 children, 1 unborn, without a father and a mother, as well as siblings who share in this traumatic loss. My heart goes out to the DeKalb County family. Tonight, it is with profound sadness that I say to all frontline responders that we are here to support you. Let us join together to give the family of Officer Rose the support that they need. So another big update in this particular case that we have been following, the New York Times put this information out. Fox 5 Atlanta has not independently confirm this information, but they said that the gunman supposedly believed that the coronavirus vaccine was to blame for some ailments that he supposedly had, and that is what led up to the shooting. Again, we have not independently confirmed this information. As far as we know, officers have not released any insight on a motive for this shooting. This is what the New York Times is reporting. They said that an anonymous source, an anonymous official, gave them this particular information. So now, as we told you guys, the shooter was also confirmed to be dead. Police were unclear if his gunshot wounds were self-inflicted. And at the time, they had not named him. Of course, just minutes ago in our studio, we got the name Patrick Joseph White, a 30-year-old from Kennesaw, but have not been able to make the connection just yet, whether that is the suspect in this particular case. I saw on YouTube a lot of you guys were asking whether anybody else was injured. Police did tell us that no civilians were hit by gunfire during this incident, which is good news. If you were out in the area or if you live nearby, it is good to know that no one else was injured. And again, we have not independently confirmed whether the shooter's motive was connected to the coronavirus vaccine, but it is interesting because this comes just 1 week after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services would be pulling $500 million in funding for research for the mRNA vaccines. If you're unfamiliar, that technology develops vaccines that combat upper respiratory viruses like the coronavirus or like the flu. And so it is interesting that this comes just a week after we got that announcement from RFK Jr. We did roll on his press conference here in the newsroom. I want you to take a listen to that announcement, if we can get it up real quick. Okay, so we don't have that bite for you, but in other news, yesterday we did learn that 92 children were still at daycare on Emory's campus, and there were plenty of parents who were concerned, who were worried, who were just trying to make sure they could get to their kids. They actually had heard from the news that there was some sort of active shooter situation. And so we did get to speak to one of those fathers who was elated, to say the least, to be reunited with his son. Let's take a listen.
It's been a long day.
Long day.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Okay.
Hold on.
You have him
Next
in
time.
your arms. How do you feel?
Happy, tired. Thankful everything worked out the way it should. Everybody did a really good job. Everybody's handled it really well. And just thankful. You know, lucky. I know I'm lucky. Things don't always play out like this. And I understand that, but I'm thankful. I'm glad to have him in my arms, ready to get him home, fed, and into bed. It's been a long day for everybody.
A long day indeed, and I can't imagine what it's like to be in that situation, but I do imagine that hug was probably the best one that they've had in a long time. We were able to find that soundbite for you from RFK Jr. making that announcement on cutting the funding, so we're going to get that out to you right now.
But for upper respiratory infections, we canceled 22 trials for upper respiratory infections. But right now, we're developing a universal vaccine at NIH, which is a vaccine that addresses the entire phylum of viruses. And so it's a vaccine that mimics natural immunity. And it is effective against any kind of mutation. So it doesn't drive the virus to mutate. And it could be effective. We believe it's going to be effective against not only coronaviruses, but also flu. And it's going to be a much safer and much more effective vaccine.
And I do want to say that although RFK is known widely for being skeptical of vaccines, he did say in this same press conference that he had nothing against vaccines. He just wanted to make sure that families in the U.S. have a choice. So I did want to make sure that I say that too. Now, when we come back, we are going to be talking to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, who has a lot more on this active shooting situation from last night that has resulted in 2 deaths, including that of Officer Rose with the DeKalb County Police. We'll get that to you in just a second. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local. As promised, we are going to get you right out to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, who has been covering this breaking news all morning long. Lindsay, you are out there in DeKalb County. Have you learned anything new about this particular shooting, and what can you tell us about what unfolded just yesterday?
Yeah, well, I'm live out here at DeKalb County Police Headquarters, where you can see the flags are at half staff here behind me. A very emotional day for law enforcement and the community. Well beyond that, we are learning new details this morning from the GBI, but I want to talk a little bit about the officer who lost his life responding to this active shooter situation yesterday. Officer David Rose, 33 years old, was a DeKalb County police officer responding to that situation when he was shot and killed. He was rushed to a hospital nearby, but unfortunately he passed away from his injuries. Rose started with the DeKalb County Police Department in September of last year. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children and had a 3rd child on the way as well. He was known for his passion of serving the community. Now, I mentioned we learned some new details from GBI agents just within the last few minutes here. They sent out an update about their part in the investigation. They were called in as the lead agency in both the officer-involved shooting aspect of this, but they're also the lead agency in the active shooter situation as a whole. They say Patrick Joseph White, 30 years old from Kennesaw, died during this incident. The ATF, FBI, Atlanta Police Department, Brookhaven Police Department, Chamblee Police Department, DeKalb County Police Department, and Sheriff's Office, Dunwoody Police, and Georgia State Patrol all participated in yesterday's event. There is a lot of evidence still on the scene, they say. They also called it a very complex scene, and they are still conducting interviews. We saw our reporter Brittany Edney out there still on the scene this morning, where they continue to have roads closed off in the area. That's because they are still processing the crime scene at this time, and they say it will be an extended period of time that they take to process that scene. This all happened across the street from CDC headquarters and near Emory University's main campus at the CVS at Emory Emory Point, actually on the second floor of that CVS. That's where Atlanta police tell us that the suspect fired multiple rounds at CDC building, breaking windows over there. Still a lot to uncover in the case, and in those moments right after gunfire erupted, we know that law enforcement jumped right into action, and as those quickly around them were also trying to process what was happening and really judge their safety.
This officer responded to the call as he was trained to do, and during that incident he received gunfire and he lost his life in this incident. He was committed to serving the community. At this time, we're asking for the community's prayers.
There are 3 children, 1 unborn without a father. There is a mother and a father, as well as siblings, who also share in this traumatic loss. Let's join together to give this family the support that it needs during this traumatic loss.
Just a terrible loss for the community, and still so many people processing what exactly happened out there. There were people who were living nearby in apartments that heard gunfire. There were people who were working at the CDC, nearby high schools, a daycare nearby with almost 100 children inside as well. Everybody hearing that gunfire and just trying to get their own safety, find out if their loved ones were safe, and then of course later learning about the loss of this DeKalb County police officer. Now there are still a lot of questions in this case, including the motive behind the shooting. We did learn the name of the other person who died in this incident, again 30-year-old Patrick White from Kennesaw, but the GBI has not said explicitly that that was the shooter. Atlanta police said during their press conference yesterday they believed there was only one shooter involved in this and they believed that person was dead. But again, at this time, we cannot say that GBI has confirmed who exactly that person was. As soon as we get those details, of course, we'll let you know. But a lot of developments still to come in this. For now, that's the very latest live in DeKalb County. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, thank you so much. Stick with me for just a second. I want to touch on the last point that you made. Yes, you are correct in saying that the GBI has not confirmed that information. In fact, we did go ahead and ask, is this person, should we be considering this person the suspect or not? And they say, and I can quote, "The investigation is active and ongoing. We can't confirm anything else at this time." Now, Lindsay, in our comment section, a lot of people, as you can imagine, are very worried about this particular incident. You said it already in your coverage, but I want to be explicit. This lady, 2550, asked, wasn't the shooting off of campus? Can we, again, be more specific about where this happened, the location?
Yes, this happened at the CVS. Police are saying from the second floor of that CVS, which we are learning might have been only authorized for employee access. But this was at Emory Point, which is not on any kind of property. It's a private property that's a multi-use property with retail businesses, restaurants over there. There's some living as well, some apartments, but it's not on CDC campus and it's not on Emory campus, though it is very close. And the gunfire did reach CDC buildings, which is important to note that there were bullet holes in windows, and we had some images of those as well, though this did happen off the premises.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for letting us know about that. We have another comment, not on this live stream, but in some previous coverage that we had from yesterday. Someone wanted to know if there were any memorials or anything. We do know right behind you, those flags are flying at half staff. Have you heard anything about a memorial growing there?
Not at this time, but of course that's something that we'll keep everyone updated about, especially as we learn plans for this officer's funeral, whether those will be made open to the public, if there will be a public procession or anything of that nature.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit more insight there on the grounds and letting us know the latest in this horrific situation. Now, you guys, we are covering some other breaking news today. We learned that 3 people were injured in a plane crash near Peachtree DeKalb Industrial Airport. Let me get that up for you all. What we learned about this situation was that a small plane had crashed near Peachtree DeKalb Airport, and it left Again, 3 people injured and hundreds without power. Early this Saturday morning. That plane went down on Claremont Road near 9th Street, taking down some power lines with it, and that's why people have been left without their electricity. Now, a Chamblee police officer told Fox 5 Atlanta that again, those 3 people were injured. They were taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, we don't have any word on how serious their injuries are. But Georgia Power crews at last notice were on scene working to restore power for the residents in that area. You guys, we are going to shift gears when we come back. We will get you another live look at your forecast, and then we're going to look at some of the things that are happening around the Metro Atlanta area today. We'll get to that in just a second. Welcome back in, you guys. Like I said, I wanted to get you another look at your forecast. And Alex, welcome to the digital set.
Yeah.
What do you got cooking for us?
I think a great weekend, weather-wise. Not 1,010%, but we'll say like 90%.
Okay.
Still going to have a couple of scattered showers out there, but we are going to be looking at most people staying dry and still below average temperature. So if you were to ask me what to do for the weekend, I would say go outside. We've got a yes today. We've got a yes tomorrow as well. Look at those rain chances, 10%.
I can do that.
That's it for the afternoon. Then for tomorrow, we're up to 30% for the first part of the afternoon and 20% for the back half of the afternoon. So still a decent chance of staying dry. Many people will stay dry here over the next couple of days. Here's where we stand right now. 74 in Atlanta, 72 in Canton, 72 over in Gainesville, 74 in Blairsville, 72 in Athens, and 75 already in Eatonton. Today's pool forecast getting into the low 80s at times this afternoon, with only that slim chance of rain. We're also going to see the sun come out, so it's cloudy in a lot of spots right now. It's not necessarily going to stay that way through the day today. And then in the days to come, how about that? Getting into the upper 80s and low 90s across the metro area, a spot we have not been for about a week and a half. And still not getting above the average high, but coming close to it towards the back half of the week there. 83 in Atlanta today. Notice we are going to be warmer in northwest Georgia, namely up in Rome. That's because we'll have this easterly breeze today bringing in the cooler air. But what's to the east of Rome? That would be mountains, and that cooler breeze is not going to be able to get over the mountains. So northwest Georgia, Rome, Cartersville, Calhoun, Somerville, over towards, say, Chickamauga, up in towards Catoosa County, Dalton, probably running a couple degrees warmer than us here in the metro area, but the rain chance is going to be the same for just about everybody. There you go, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's going to be our best chance of rain here over the next 7 days. Speaking of which, there's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. So highs, yeah, they're warming back up. Rain chances, they are going back up, but this isn't the summertime pattern, the true 100% summertime pattern, building in a couple different factors at play. And look, anytime we're not in the 90s in August, 2 thumbs up on my end.
2 thumbs up for me too.
Yep.
Just making sure The fact that we are not where we usually would be our average,
Yep.
is there any worry about that, or?
No, I mean, there's not really a worry ever when you're above or below average unless it's for a long period of time. Like, say we're above average, we're not getting any rain. Typically, there's something else tied to it that would cause a worry. But in terms of the temperatures, no. I mean, this is, expected in a way, because very rarely are you ever at exactly average. Either you're a couple degrees above it or below it. So, just rolling into August here with 80s. It's not like we've never seen it before. This is actually, I saw the National Weather Service put this out yesterday. It is the 5th coolest start to August since records have been kept in terms of the high temperature. So there you go.
Do you know any of, off the top of your head, any of the other dates? Have they been recent?
2013 comes to mind.
Okay.
That is the only one I know of it being relatively recent. The records are kept since the late 1800s.
Okay.
So that is
That's
the
a
one
long
that comes
time.
to mind. And I, the funny thing is I remember that. It was the beginning of August 2013, obviously, if it was
I
the
thought
coolest.
you remember the 1800s.
No. Beginning of August 2013, I had just started school back, and I remember it was that cool, cloudy 70s, 80s, and that's just, it sticks out in my mind for some reason, probably because it was so abnormal.
Got you. Well, our kids just went back to school as
Right.
well. And looking at our 7-day ahead for them for this upcoming school week, any advice for them going in?
Look, the same advice that I would have had last week, keep the rain jacket handy. You might need it on the bus, you might not. And that could change by the difference of just about 5 miles. So it's the time of year where you have scattered showers and storms. Parents standing out there waiting at the bus stop, likewise, might just take an umbrella with you. Maybe check out the Fox 5 Storm Team app before you head out to the bus stop and check out the radar.
Good to know. Make
Yep.
sure you go ahead and download it. You'll get those notifications to your phone if anything serious is in your area.
Yep.
You might even hear David Chandler's voice.
Yes, if there's lightning, you'll hear David say, "Lightning has been detected in your area." I still think it's the funniest thing. It's great though, right? Because whenever you're out at the pool and you're close to lightning, you need that information, because if you are close enough, you could be struck and not see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, thank you so much. And you did say earlier in your forecast that today would be a good time to get outside. And so we want to get out to our photojournalist Eli Jordan at one of those events that you could potentially go to. He's hanging out with some slithering friends out there in Duluth at the Southeast Reptile Expo. Eli, tell us what you got going on behind you.
Hey, Judea. Yeah, I'm not outside, we're inside, but I'm with 148 vendors here at the Gas South Energy Center, and it's the Southeast Reptile Expo, where you got tons and tons of nope ropes, danger noodles, all that good, whatever you may call them, snacks. But I believe that these are possibly pythons, but I am with Bob Vu. He is the organizer of this, and Bob, this is your booth. Thanks for joining us today, Bob.
How are we doing?
Doing great. And tell me, what all is going on this weekend?
So this weekend here at the this beautiful convention, we have the best breeders around the country joining us to showcase what they've been working on all year. And the crowd's already coming in heavy, and just to appreciate these animals.
And so you guys had to open the doors a little bit early because there's already a crowd there, right?
Yeah, so we were supposed to open the doors at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we ended up having to open early. There's way too many people waiting in line because fire code. So, it's been a great crowd.
So how long is this going on for, today and tomorrow?
This is going to be today and tomorrow, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Closing. And all of our vendors will be here. We have guest speakers here, and they'll be here to answer all your questions.
How much does it cost to get in, Bob?
It is $20 at the door. There's also a 2-day pass if you decide to come in today and tomorrow for $30. We have military discounts, teacher discounts, first responder discounts at the door.
And so there's more than just snakes here, correct?
Right.
And so tell me, what all other things can people expect to find here?
So this is a reptile expo. However, we do have other things here that is in the reptile community and culture. So we have amphibians, plants, bioactive enclosures. So you're going to have your bearded dragons, your monitors, axolotls, and really equipment for to take care of these guys. Caging, lights, anything you can think of that can keep these guys healthy. The food, everything is here.
And I also saw some monkeys over there.
Yep.
And I saw some creepy spiders and some other bugs that
Right.
we might have to show off. I mean, I guess this is a kind of a in a good way, a creepy, nice little expo, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think the general public, especially for us here in the South, people think a good snake's a dead snake type deal. This is kind of just a break out of that notion and to show them that these reptiles are not, creepy and scary and will attack you constantly. These guys they make great pets. You can see how beautiful they are. You come here and appreciate them, the color. And I think the general public is curious about these guys. You can see how many people are here already. They're just curious, and I think the education is definitely going to help. They come here and they can learn how to take care of these guys, how to keep them, how to make them thrive, and just to appreciate their beauty, their natural beauty.
And for people that never owned reptiles, it's a good bit of responsibility. It's different. It's not like a mammal. These are cold-blooded.
Right. These are cold-blooded animals, so the responsibility is different. In my opinion, that what appeals to a lot of the general public is that the responsibility is much less. These, let's say for a snake, they'll eat one time a week. So you're feeding them one time a week, which means they will defecate one time a week. That means you'll only clean them up one time a week. They don't require daily walks. They don't require as much attention. So that's where a lot of this attraction comes from. You can get a pet reptile, you can get a pet snake or a spider, something like an arachnid or whatever. And really, even if you go on vacation for a week, 2 weeks, it's perfectly okay. You just have someone come by, make sure they have water, heat is on, and you're good. That's the appeal of it. It's much less responsibility. It's much easier pet, and that's why it's a growing market for younger generation, millennials and stuff like that, is because you don't have as much responsibility. There's not as much of a vet bill. You don't have to go get them groomed or anything like that.
And they might be a little bit more expensive. It's not as easy as going to and adopting at the shelter or anything, but this is, several $100s for some of these reptiles, I guess, because they're kind of hard to get, right?
What you're seeing here is, especially at my booth, I'm a specialty breeder, so I breed for color, I breed for pattern. These are animals bred over the last 15, 20 years for color. But a lot of animals, if you go around the show, you're going to find animals ranging anywhere between $30, $40, all the way up to $10,000, $20,000 based on the specialty of the breed, the mutations, and the rarity of the animal. We have animals here that only are here at this show. I saw shingleback skinks, which I've never seen at another show before. And so you're talking about animals like that are very hard to come by, that can go up to $10,000, $20,000. But a lot of times you go to these booths, there will be animals that are more pet friendly, especially for your pocket of your wallet. It's going to be in $50 to $100 range.
Cool, awesome. Bob, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Judea, that's here at the in Duluth at the Gas
South Convention Center. Yep.
Gas South Convention Center, and it costs about $20 to get in. Going on until how long, Bob?
5 p.m. today.
5 p.m. today, and then same times tomorrow. Come on down here, check it out. Southeast Reptile Expo. You'll see more than snakes. You'll see some salamanders. You'll see some monkeys. You'll see some beetles. You'll see all sorts of different things that could creep you out, but also are pretty cool. And I plan on checking out some other things, a little bit up in your face. Maybe some monkeys. Get some monkeys hanging. I've always wanted a monkey. But anyways, you can check us out later. I'll be finding some, hanging out with some danger noodles, whatever, and some creepy crawlies and all that good stuff. So if you have nothing to do today, if you want to get inside and check out some reptiles, come on down here to Duluth at the Gas South Energy Convention Center, and come on down here to the Southeast Reptile Expo and have yourself a good, creepy, slithery, crawly, nope roping good time. There's all sorts of stuff here. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, I bet.
Really
Eli, I believe it or not, I actually love snakes. And so I'm not freaked out at all at the fact that you're there. Maybe one day I'll buy one myself. They're pretty cool creatures, pretty cool
right
pets.
On. You could wear a boa on set, and just
I can have a Britney Spears moment.
Attire.
It'll actually match perfectly with this dress, I think. Well, anyway, Eli, we'll get back out to you a little later on for another look at the Southeast Reptile Expo. You guys, we're going to get you your news of the day when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local, to our stream. Here is a look at your news of the day. We found out that on Olympian Way in Southwest Atlanta, a baby and a woman had been shot. A 15-month-old is recovering in the hospital this morning after being caught in the crossfire of a shooting in Southwest Atlanta. Police did respond to that scene at the home on Olympian Way, and there they discovered that there was some sort of family dispute, an argument that escalated to gunfire. Unfortunately, the toddler was shot in the hand and taken to Scottish Rite Children's Hospital to be treated. We also found out that a 64-year-old woman was shot in the leg and taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. So far, there has been no word on any arrests just yet. We also have an update on the Edgewood mass shooting that we have been covering for quite some time. Just new this morning, homicide detectives made an arrest in that mass shooting that left one person dead and 10 other people injured. Police say that Rico T. Arnold was taken into custody during a traffic stop in Clayton County, and Arnold is now facing a murder charge along with 10 counts of aggravated assault for each of those people that were injured. Police are now looking at 3 other suspects in the shooting. You can see they've been providing us this surveillance footage. They believe that some of the people in this image on the sidewalk were somehow involved. If you know anything about the shooting, if you can recognize any of the people in this image, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. And just so you know, if you do have some information that leads to an arrest and things further on, you could be eligible for up to $5,000 in a reward. Last night, if you were out at dinner or at the bar, you probably saw this on the big screen. When the Falcons were playing their first preseason game against the Detroit Lions, there was a horrific injury that happened on the field. Lions DB Maurice Norris Jr. was seriously hurt while trying to make a tackle during the fourth quarter. He was carried off the field by an ambulance, and both teams let the clock run out while the game was eventually suspended. The injury, unfortunately, leaves the Lions and the Falcon players just completely horrified. We have a soundbite from one of those players.
Just praying for a player from Detroit, first of all, just to pray for his safety. We play a dangerous game playing football, so that's the biggest thing on our minds right now is just to, say prayers for Norris and just hopefully that he gets back to 100%.
What was it like on the sideline, just kind of not knowing in those immediate moments what was going on?
Like I said, I'm a faith-based person, so first thing I did was learn his name, say a prayer for him. I know everybody on the sideline, continue to say prayers for him. We heard some good news about him, and just hopefully that he makes a full recovery from what happened.
As he mentioned, there was some good news. The Lions released a statement on social media saying that Maurice Norris is in stable condition, that he has feeling and movement in all of his extremities, which is a great sign. They went on to say that he's going to remain at Grady Memorial Hospital for observation. They're hoping that he makes a total recovery. Now, here is an update on the Fort Stewart shooting that we have been covering again for a couple of days now. It rocked our community here in Georgia. 3 people were wounded at the Fort Stewart. They were all soldiers, but we just learned that they're all home from the hospital. And another person could be released this weekend. Army officials say that the last soldier likely won't go home until she recovers completely. Now, the suspect, Sergeant Cornelius Radford, has been accused of shooting 5 of his co-workers in the 2nd Armored Brigade combat team area. Officials who knew Radford said that they didn't see any warning signs, so it's unclear right now what charges he could possibly face, but he'll be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel, which is in the process of drawing up his charges. As soon as we know a little more, we'll try to get that out to you. And in connection with that, just letting you know a little bit more about the shooter, because we've learned some new information. Again, this incident, just speaking more broadly, happened on Wednesday. They say that Radford injured 5 of his fellow soldiers, but to tell you a little bit more about him, he was 28 years old. He has been booked into the Liberty County Jail. Again, he's going to be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel. Thankfully, each of the soldiers that were involved, the victims, are expected to survive. But right now, there's no clear motive for the attack. And remember, like I said, his colleagues said that they didn't see this coming. But the New York Times is reporting that he sent a goodbye text to his aunt just moments before the shooting. Here at Fox 5 Atlanta, we haven't independently confirmed that information. But they also say that Radford had been bullied into streaming with us. We will be right back. Hey, you guys, welcome back into Fox Local. We do now have another breaking update into this shooting that we have been talking to you about since last night that happened near Emory University and near the CDC. That is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. I want to get you out to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman. Lindsay, can you walk us through this breaking update that we just got and then tell us a little bit more about this horrific incident that unfolded before us?
Yes, the GBI is now confirming the name of the gunman involved in this crime. They say 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White from Kennesaw was the person behind the shooting. He also was killed or died during this incident as well. It's still being investigated, the exact circumstances surrounding his death. These are the latest developments coming from the GBI, but I'm here in front of DeKalb County Police Headquarters where you can see these flags are at half staff here behind me, honoring the life of 33-year-old police officer David Rose, who was killed while responding to that active shooter situation yesterday. This all happened at the CBS at Emory Point, across the street from CDC headquarters and near the main campus of Emory University as well. When that gunfire rang out, it really sent people into a panic, and Atlanta police officers, as well as a slew of other agencies, all responded. But now the GBI is the main agency on this case. They have taken the lead in both the officer-involved shooting aspect of this as well as the shooting as a whole. They say, as I mentioned, a number of other agencies from Brookhaven, Chamblee, DeKalb County, Georgia State Patrol, the FBI, and ATF all participated in this investigation. They also say there is extensive evidence that they've had to collect in order to process everything. They've been interviewing witnesses. They say that it's such an extensive scene, it's going to take an extended amount of time to process it all as well. In fact, earlier this morning, our reporter Brittany Edney was out there on the scene. They still had roads blocked off in the area as they continue to go through and process that crime scene. As I mentioned, this happened near the campus of CDC and Emory University. There were actually bullet holes that folks took pictures of and sent to us in our newsroom at CDC headquarters. Very scary moments from there. Both of those campuses were locked down for several hours as a result. There was a daycare as part of the CDC that also had to be locked down. Parents waiting to be reunited with their children for several hours as all of this unfolded together. What we learned from Atlanta police yesterday is that it appeared that the shooting took place on the second floor of that CVS. Some reports to us from sources say that suspect had a long gun on him. And again, that suspect being named by GBI agents as Patrick White from Kennesaw. Still a lot to uncover, including the motive behind this situation, but it was a lot of quick action from police as they worked to get the situation under control, and also from the people who were in that area hearing the gunfire and trying to get themselves to safety as well.
Then we heard several more sirens, so we didn't know what happened. Then I turned on the TV to see what the news said, and here it was, an active shooter. Then they didn't know how many people were being active, if it was a group or what.
Very troubling moments for so many. And just a moment to touch on who Officer Rose was, because obviously he was known for his service, his commitment to public safety. He served here with DeKalb County Police starting in September of 2024. He was also a husband, a father of 2 children. He had a 3rd child on the way as well. So many lives impacted by this loss, which will certainly be felt in the law enforcement community and well beyond that. Again, the GBI investigating at this point. We also know there were no other injuries reported. 4 other people did have to be taken to the hospital to be treated for anxiety, but no other physical injuries. But a very traumatic day that the entire community will certainly be recovering from. That's the latest here in DeKalb County. Reporting live, I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, a very troubling day indeed. Later on in this hour, we're going to get back out to you. I have some questions to pose to you from our audience, and we'll do that a little later on in the show. But if we can come back to studio real quick. I've said this quote before here on the stream. It's Mr. Rogers' quote. It's one of my favorites. He said that when he was a little boy and he would see scary things in the news, his mom would tell him to always look for the helpers because there will be people helping. And I just have to say that I am looking forward to seeing how the community comes together after this horrific incident. I know that they're going to come out in droves for the Rose family. As Lindsay mentioned, Officer Rose had 2 children already. He had a 3rd child on the way, and unfortunately he also left behind a wife. So once again, I'm just looking forward to seeing how the community comes together to let people know that even in the face of these horrific kind of incidents, in the face of death, we are stronger together than we are apart. Now, you guys, I want to get you a quick look at your forecast. We'll get to our headlines in just a second, but I want to get you out to Alex Forbes. Alex, what can you tell us about what's going on in the sky today?
Yeah, Judea, starting it off on a pretty average note. We got down to 72 this morning, and that is our average low temperature for the beginning of August. Now we've made our way back to 75. It's not a steep incline because we're not seeing a ton in the way of sunshine just yet. We will see some for the afternoon, though. 71 in Barrow County, 74 over in Alpharetta, 76 in Cummings, 75 in Canton, and 74 in Marietta right now. 10:08 in the morning. How about 75 in Eatonton, 72 in Thomaston, 75 in Canton, and 71 in Clayton. So today's rain chance at about 10% through the afternoon. That goes for everybody across north and central Georgia. It's not going to be just one spot or another, or no spot has any real better chance of seeing rain than any of the other ones across north and central Georgia. So here we go into the evening. Temperatures getting into the low 80s. Then you got 70s on the way with the easterly breeze, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Some peaks of sunshine, some more clouds at other times. Notice tonight, sunset, that is at 8:30. So that's going to be pretty nice. It's getting earlier and earlier. I say that because I work in the mornings, right? I kind of want it to go down a little early. Here we go. There's the 70s. There's the 80s. Just a couple of scattered showers out there, and that's about it for your Saturday. I think we'll see some more, though, by the time we get to Sunday. Watch these clouds build in from the east. That easterly flow continuing even northeasterly at times. Looking at temperatures in the 70s, and then you see more in the way of scattered shower activity for Sunday afternoon. As for today, easterly breeze helping us stay on the cooler side. 83 in Atlanta, 84 in Athens. I say on the cooler side because this is about 5 to 7 degrees below average. 84 in Covington, 82 in Gainesville, 86 in Canton, and 82 up in Blairsville. Now, areas that are on the west side of the Appalachian Mountains up here in northern Georgia, those are going to be the spots that are able to get a couple degrees warmer here through the afternoon. Then for tonight, down to about 70 here in Atlanta. Again, our average low is 72, so that's pretty close to where we were this morning. Quick check of the tropics. We've got this disturbance out here in the central Atlantic. That has a 30% chance of development in the next 7 days, but this is catching my attention a little more. That storm up there is not going to impact anybody. This is going to be another wave rolling off the coast, or is another wave rolling off the coast into this orange shaded region, and once it gets there, it has a 40% chance of developing over the next 7 days. Now, I do see a lot of models developing the system. However, there is a wide range geographically on where this ends up. A number of them have it out to sea and have it not being a problem. Some others try to bring it as close as the Lesser Antilles, and you see that the edge of the orange right there and the proximity to the Lesser Antilles certainly just going to raise some eyebrows for the moment, and nothing more than that for the time being. Of course, if it becomes a concern, we will let you know from the Fox 5 Storm Team. Next name on the list is going to be Aaron. We had Dexter just a couple days ago. Dexter is no more. The energy from Dexter is now over toward Europe. A 10% chance of rain today, 30% tomorrow, 40% Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Looking for some scattered showers and storms. Temperatures getting into the upper 80s by the back half of the week, Judea. It is going to feel a little warmer, but look, it's not the 90s, and that's all we have to remember.
Yeah, I guess it'll be all right for us. We aren't going to cook and sizzle out here in Georgia like typical for August. Right. Alex, thank you so much for another look at our forecast. Coming back into studio, we're going to get back into that breaking, developing news that we have been covering all morning for you all. As we have continuously told you, so far police have told us that they have not identified a motive in the shooting that took place near Emory University and near the CDC. However, the New York Times put out an article that suggests that the gunman believed the coronavirus vaccine was to blame for some alleged ailments that he was experiencing. And so they're saying that that is the reason why he opened fire on Friday outside of the headquarters of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention out in Atlanta. As we all know, he did the suspect is accused of killing a police officer. We also learned that the suspect was dead himself after the incident, and the GBI has now confirmed that suspect's identity as Patrick Joseph White, a 30-year-old man from Kennesaw. And back to what the New York Times was saying, that supposedly this man had a fixation about the vaccine. This comes at an interesting time because just last week, we know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the announcement that the Health and Human Services would be cutting about $500 million in funding for technology, the mRNA technology. And if you are unaware, that technology helps the development and the research for vaccines that try to prevent and control upper respiratory diseases and viruses. So, for example, COVID-19 is one of them. The flu is another one of them. We listened to his press conference earlier last week. I want to play that back for you guys.
But for upper respiratory infections, we canceled 22 trials for upper respiratory infections, but right now we're developing a universal vaccine at NIH, which is a vaccine that addresses the entire phylum of viruses. And so it's a vaccine that mimics natural immunity, and it is effective against any kind of mutation. So it doesn't drive the virus to mutate, and it could be effective. We believe it's going to be effective against not only coronaviruses but also flu, and it's going to be a much safer and much more effective vaccine.
You know, the timeliness of this situation. Again, we here at Fox 5 Atlanta have not independently confirmed any information about a motive. As far as we know, police have been telling us that they have not released a motive, that it is still unclear on their end as well. That is just what the New York Times is now reporting as of today. In other news, we learned that unfortunately a baby and a woman have been shot in Southwest Atlanta, and they are now in the hospital fighting to recover. That baby was a 16-month-old child who's now recovering in Scottish Rite Children's Hospital. We learned that this happened in Southwest Atlanta at a home on Olympian Way, that supposedly police say there was some sort of family dispute, an argument that escalated to gunfire. And then the toddler was shot in the hand, again, taken to Scottish Rite Children's Hospital to be treated. And a 64-year-old woman was also shot in the leg. She has been taken to Grady Memorial Hospital to be treated. Unfortunately, there's no word yet on any arrests at this time. If you guys happen to be out and about watching the game last night, this was the Falcons' first preseason game against the Lions, the Detroit Lions, and it ended with a heartbreaking injury. So Lions DB Maurice Norris Jr. was seriously injured on the field while trying to make a tackle during the fourth quarter. Norris was carried off the field by an ambulance, and both teams took a knee. They let the clock run out, and then the game was eventually suspended. That injury left Lions and Falcons players alike horrified. We spoke to one of the players.
Just praying for a player from Detroit, first of all, just to pray for his safety. We play a dangerous game playing football, so that's the biggest thing on our minds right now, is just to, say prayers for Norris and just hopefully that he gets back to 100%.
What was it like on the sideline, just kind of not knowing in those immediate moments what was going on?
Like I said, I'm a faith-based person, so first thing I did was learn his name, say a prayer for him. I know everybody on the sideline, continue to say prayers for him. We heard some good news about him, and just hopefully that he makes a full recovery from what happened.
Yeah, like he said, he's hoping that he makes a full recovery and that he had heard some good news. That's because the Lions released a statement on social media saying that Norris is in stable condition now, that he has feeling and movement in all of his extremities. They also go on to say in that statement that he will remain at Grady Memorial Hospital for observation. Now, we are also learning some new information about the shooting at Fort Stewart, where soldiers were seemingly targeted. 3 of the soldiers that were wounded in that shooting earlier this week are now out of the hospital. Now, another possibly could be released this weekend, but as Army officials tell us, that last soldier likely won't go home until she recovers. So now the suspect, you saw a photo of him briefly a moment ago. It was Sergeant Cornelius Radford. He's been accused of shooting 5 of his coworkers in the 2nd Armored Brigade combat team area. Officials who knew Radford tell us that they didn't see any warning signs there. It's unclear right now what charges he could face, but we do know that he'll be tried by the Army Office of Special Trial Counsel, which is in the process of drawing up his charges as we speak. We're also learning some other information about him, that he's 28 years old. He's been booked into the Liberty County Jail while he waits to find out what those charges are. Again, thankfully, each of the soldiers involved, the victims, are expected to survive. That is probably our silver lining in all of this. But the New York Times is reporting that he sent a goodbye text to his aunt just moments before the shooting began at Fort Stewart. And they also say that he was being bullied in 2018 over an alleged stutter. This is all information that Fox 5 Atlanta has not independently confirmed, just letting you know what other media outlets are reporting about this particular situation and the suspected shooter in this case. You guys, well, we're going to get you a quick break. When we come back, we will cover some more headlines of the day. We will also be checking out some things to do around the metro Atlanta area if you're interested in getting out and trying to enjoy the little bit of sunshine that we have today. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox Local. My name is Judea Murray. I'm your host for the next 30 minutes or so. We usually tell you about some of the cool things that you can do around the metro Atlanta area. There are some events that we're out at today, but first I want to let you know if you are looking for something fun to get into, all you have to do is go to our website or you can go to the Fox Local app. You'll scroll until you see the Things to Do tab. One of our digital content creators, Joyce Lupiani, puts these lists together every single week, and they're really thorough. So she'll categorize them. If you're a foodie, she has plenty of eateries for you to try out. She'll also have, right now, I believe we are still in Black Restaurant Week. If you're interested in trying out a Black-owned restaurant for some good eating. She also will categorize the comedy shows, music, in case you're interested in seeing what big name is coming to the metro Atlanta area next. And just so you know, I understand that not everybody lives inside the perimeter. We also have plenty of events outside the perimeter. This is another one of those categories that she puts in that list. So again, if you're looking for things to do, you could follow us on social media. We put out some reels every week that give you an idea of 5 cool things that you can get into. We also have our Fox Local app. You just got to look for the Things to Do tab. And then we have fox5atlanta.com. Again, scroll until you see things to do. And it's not just those lists. She has other articles up ready for you to see what cool things are going on around our area. But speaking of cool events, we do have our photojournalist Eli Jordan at one of them. Eli has been out at the Southeast Reptile Expo, and Eli, it looks like you got something cool cooking up for us. So what's going on now?
Hey, Judea. I am here at a really cool vendor, and guess what? My battery light just went off, but we'll see how long it go. If I lose me, I'm going to change batteries real quick, so stick with me. So check this out. I'm with Tara. Hey, Tara, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
It's great. And so tell me, you have all sorts of, you got a lot of strange stuff here, but one of my favorite things were these what, death feigning beetles?
It
Can you
is
show me what those do?
on brand with the oddities and things. The blue death feigning beetles, they're actually native to the United States. They're a desert dwelling species. They're pretty awesome little pets. They're really easy to take care of. They don't bite, fly, or sting or anything like that. But they call them the blue death feigning beetles because if you go to pick one up, they play dead.
That is so cool.
And depending on how dramatic the individual is, they kind of start twitching and they'll wake up and flip themselves back over.
So, I mean, how do you find these?
So I actually get them collected. They're fairly prevalent in the wild in Arizona, Southern California. They go down into Mexico. We are trying to captive breed these guys. They're really hard to get to pupate from. They will produce larvae, but getting the pupate into beetles is really tricky. So I've been trying to kind of experiment with different methods to try to breed them in captivity so we don't have to catch them from the wild.
And you also have a legless lizard, which is also creepy if you ask me.
Yeah. So you might think that just looks like a weird snake, but actually, if you look really closely, you can see he has eyelids, so he'll blink, and he also has ear holes. So that little ear on the side of that little hole. So they are actually a lizard. They're not snakes.
So how did you get into reptiles?
So I, of course, watched Steve Irwin growing up, like every kid. That was definitely my inspiration. My grandparents worked at the Swamp Park, which was like a nature center near me, and then kind of just took that and ran with it, and now it's kind of my full-time hobby.
This is really, really, really cool. Judea, you can find all sorts of really cool things here. She's even got a creepy rattler and formaldehyde back here. So, and she's got all sorts of neat other creepy things, and you can only imagine what Tara's house is like.
Oh yeah, it's my own personal museum.
And she got spiders. There's tarantulas here. Oh my gosh. And, tarantulas are starting to pop out over in Arizona and stuff. So, and then they're creeping across the South United States. So, I wonder how long it'll take for Georgia to see some tarantulas. I think there might be I don't know, you got any scorpions around here?
I got a couple Asian forest scorpions and the emperor scorpion, which is one of the largest species of scorpion in the world.
Yeah, I know we got some scorpions around here.
Yep.
And this is really cool. So, Judea, I'm at the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth. It's going on until 5 o'clock today and tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock, $20 to get in. Come check it out. And also, ask your kids. They might know, people at home, if they watch YouTube. Ed and Emily are here. What is it? I think, I don't know anything about it, but it's a Snake Discovery from YouTube. Ed and Emily, they're also here, and people are lined up to hang out and meet them. So there's a lot going on here if you're into snakes, reptiles, cold-blooded things, and amphibians, and death feigning beetles, not as in George, Ringo, or John, or Paul, but the other beetles like insect beetles. Judea.
Okay, good one, Eli. But I am freaked out looking at this stuff. When it came to the snakes, I was all good. I love snakes, but insects, the little creepy crawlies,
like
not
geckos.
so much. Can you go back to that? What was it? It was like a legless lizard. Ooh,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
If you guys want to come meet some snakes, conquer your fears, we've got friendly animals that you can hold. We've got animals that you can take home. A little bit of everything for everyone.
Cool.
Eli, ask her what kind of snake that
Awesome.
is.
What kind of snake is this?
This is a Dumerul's boa. This is from Madagascar, the island off of Africa.
It's an African Madagascarian snake.
Yep. And they've got beautiful camouflage. This guy is about an adult. The males stay a little smaller than the females. But this guy is an adult male, and he is super friendly. His name is Mocha.
Oh.
And this is one of our ambassador animals. You guys can come hold him if you'd like.
Mocha seems
Try to change some minds out here today.
Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's not going to do anything. She said Mocha is a male.
What kind of snake is it again?
Dumerul's boa.
Dumerul's boa.
Yep.
Male or female?
This is a boy.
Boy. This is
Got
a boy.
you. Eli, any chance we're going to get you to hold one?
So, I will later on. There's also monkeys here too. I was going to have some monkeys hanging on me too.
Oh, you did say that.
But yeah, it's a cool place. Come on down here and check it out.
And as Eli said earlier, there are people lined up. He mentioned that one exhibit in particular, but there were so many people out there at the Gas South Convention Center that they had to open up this expo early. They were not supposed to open up until 10 a.m., but we came out to Eli at around, 9:30ish, you would say. And not only were the doors
Yep,
open,
they had,
but it was full.
Fire code issues because it was so crowded out there. So they said, "We come on in, guys," because the entrance area was just packed with people wanting to come in, and there is a huge line for the snake discovery Ed and Emily. And they're over there greeting people and signing autographs and taking pictures with snakes and stuff. Apparently, snake discovery is a huge 4 million people following YouTube channel. So that's out here too as well if you guys want to come out here and check it out. But there is reptiles galore.
Yeah, reptiles galore indeed. As you saw there, you know, the battery died. What are you going to do? This is the life of streaming. We're going to check out Eli a little later on. He said he was going to switch his battery pack, and then we'll try to get some more fun out there with him at the Gas South Convention Center for a little bit more of the Southeast Reptile Expo. But you guys, in addition to some of the events that we have going on around the Metro Atlanta area, of course, we are also covering breaking news. And this story in particular hit us this morning. We found out that 3 people had been injured in a plane crash near Peachtree DeKalb Airport. So let me walk you through that situation. We found out this morning that a small plane crash happened near the Peachtree DeKalb Airport. It left 3 people injured and hundreds of people without power as of this morning, Saturday morning. That plane went down on Claremont Road near the 9th Street, and it took down some power lines with it. A Chamblee police officer told Fox 5 Atlanta that 3 people had been injured. They were taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, we don't have any more information on how serious their injuries were, but we do know that Georgia Power crews had been on the scene working to restore that power as of the last time we went out there. We will try to check out a little later on when you guys can expect your power to come back if it's not back on already. I also want to take this time to go through our comments on YouTube because you guys tend to interact with us quite a bit. I want to see if there are any questions that we can handle. So far, there are no questions, but I'm inviting you guys now. If you do want to ask anything at all, remember we have a reporter out there on the scene covering the shooting near Emory University. Lindsay Tooman would take your questions if you have them for her. But I do know in some of our previous coverage, there had been plenty of questions. While I am looking for those, I'll also tell you once again that the GBI got back to us not too long ago to confirm that the suspected shooter in that case was 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White from Kennesaw. They confirmed that he was the other person that died in the incident, which lets us know that he was the suspected shooter. And of course, the other person who died was DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose, who was only 33 at the time. We did learn that, unfortunately, Rose left behind a wife, 2 children, and a 3rd child who's still on the way. And as I mentioned to you all before, I'm looking forward to seeing how the community comes out to support his family. Right now, we do know that the flags are at half staff out there, but we haven't heard anything yet on a memorial. I'm sure that one will be growing pretty soon. But back to that case in particular, they let us know that there's still extensive evidence to collect due to it being such a complex scene. Some of the evidence or some of the things that we saw yesterday, we got some video that showed bullet holes through the glass at the CDC. We did also speak to neighbors in the area who let us know how scary it was, what sounds were like when those shots rang out, and they were unsure of what was happening until they turned on their news. We also spoke to parents because we learned that there was a daycare in the area where nearly 100 children were on lockdown. And so the parents, of course, were worried, concerned, trying to get to their children as quickly as possible, but they had to let this play out and let the police do their jobs. Now, thankfully, we do have that information on the fact that no civilians were injured in the shooting. Of course, our reporter Lindsay Tuman in just a little bit will get us a better look at what's happening out there. But another headline in the meantime that I want to let you guys know about, it is another shooting in our area. Just give me 1 second to. Okay, we'll come back to that other shooting in just a second. I'm going to get you guys a quick break. We'll regroup and then we'll get out to our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, who has the latest on the shooting there near Emory University. Hey, you guys, welcome back to Fox Local. As promised, we're going to get you some more information on that shooting investigation, that ongoing investigation that rolled out near Emory University and the CDC. We have our reporter, Lindsay Tuman, out at one of the police headquarters. Lindsay, what can you tell us about what you're learning today about this incident?
Today, we're here at DeKalb County Police Headquarters, where the flags are at half staff in honor of Officer David Rose, who lost his life responding to that shooting, which happened across the street from CDC headquarters right near Emory University. It happened actually in the CVS across the street at Emory Point. All of this happening in the late afternoon, early evening hours yesterday, sending the entire community into a panic as they were trying to figure out what exactly was happening. Folks nearby hearing dozens of gunshots in the area. Now, what we've learned from GBI this morning is that the suspected shooter in this was 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White from Kennesaw. He died during the incident as well. GBI also says there were a number of agencies involved in this investigation, from ATF, GBI, Atlanta Police, Brookhaven, Chamblee, DeKalb County Police, and the Georgia State Patrol also assisting in this in case, though the GBI is now considered the lead investigator. They say that there is extensive evidence to collect, that it was a very complex scene. And even early this morning, our reporter Brittany Edney was live out there where they continued to have the area taped off as police were continuing to go through the scene, collect evidence, and interview the number of witnesses that they had to. Atlanta Police told us again that this happened in the CVS at Emory Point, which is right across from CDC headquarters, though we also learned that there were gunshots fired to the CDC buildings. We even had some images of the windows with those bullet holes in them. We learned from sources that this might have happened on the second floor of that CVS and that it might have been only available to employees. This did prompt a number of lockdowns to both Emory campus and CDC for several hours. There was also a daycare there with just about 100 children. All of those parents had to wait into the evening hours in order to pick their children up. You can just imagine the emotional turmoil felt during this time by everybody in the area as they work to learn what exactly unfolded. I want to take a moment to talk about the police officer who lost his life while responding to this. He had just been gotten on the force really with DeKalb County Police in March. That's when he completed his training, and a statement from Mayor Andre Dickens this morning also revealed that he was a Marine as well before he was a police officer. He was a married man with 2 children, a third on the way. Just to think about the heartbreak, the impact of this loss, not only on the law enforcement community and his family, but the so many lives that he touched in his community service as well. Certainly a big loss, though, that we're feeling today throughout the community, and also reflecting on the quick action from Atlanta police, from those other departments as they jumped into action, and as people on the scene were processing what exactly happened as well.
This officer responded to the call as he was trained to do. And during that incident, he received gunfire and he lost his life in this incident. He was committed to serving the community. At this time, we're asking for the community's prayers.
There are 3 children, 1 unborn without a father. There is a mother and a father, as well as siblings, who also share in this traumatic loss. Let's join together to give this family the support that it needs during this traumatic loss.
So many people impacted by this loss and dealing with the trauma of living through that incident yesterday. I do want to mention there were no other physical injuries reported, though 4 others did go to the hospital to be treated for stress as a result of that shooting. And a lot of this still under investigation, including the motive behind the shooting. That is a big question at this time, and GBI agents are investigating. As soon as we get more details, of course, we'll keep you updated. But for now, that's the very latest live in DeKalb County. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, thank you so much for that update and how cohesively you've put it together for us so we can understand what is going on. Coming back into us in studio, but staying on this topic, I do want to let you know there have been statements put out as the community continues to mourn this beloved officer who had only been on the job since, I believe it was September 2024. And so one of those statements came from our governor, Brian Kemp. He tweeted this one. And I'm sorry, it's a little difficult for me to try to read it out to you, but he did let everyone know that he wanted to wish his condolences to Officer Rose's family. As you know, he left behind a wife and 2 children and had an unborn child, one that was still on the way. Now, I also combed through our YouTube comments just to let you know, like I said, the community is completely mourning this officer, this beloved officer. Our Linda Bletching said on YouTube, every time there's an officer down, it not only affects his family and his department, but every single police officer and their families. They all live with the facts that this profession puts their lives on the line every single time they show up for duty. Every department is affected, every officer and every spouse. My heart is so very sad for this officer's family and friends and all who served with him. May all who serve be protected from our mighty God. And there was one more that I wanted to read out to you all. This one comes from a David Lee 1003. Both of these comments were left today on our YouTube channel. To his family and to the officer Rose, you have my deepest sympathy. Your family, your wife, your children, you have peace now. I'm sorry you had to lose your life to protect us all, first responders. I know you're feeling hurt. Ask God to watch over you, the good ones, the bad ones, hopefully mostly good, but our life, one life has been taken. Ask God to give you your family peace in this time of mourning. You have my deepest sympathy. I'm sorry. So as I've explained, the community is in mourning. We'll see how things turn out in terms of showing up in support for his family, for his colleagues, and for everyone who knew and loved him. As soon as we get some information on a memorial or anything of that sort, we'll try to get that into you guys. But quick, we're going to get you guys a break. When we come back, we'll be getting a look at our forecast and another look out there at the Southeast Reptile Expo with our Eli Jordan. We'll be right back. Hey guys, and welcome back in. I'm Judea Murray. You just got a good look out there at the skyline, and it looks very beautiful.
Yeah, just some clouds this morning. Yeah. That's kept us from cooling off as much as we could through the overnight hours, but we are going to see breaks in clouds this afternoon, and that's going to allow temperatures to warm up a bit. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, the question that everybody has, what do outdoor plans look like? Well, here's my answer. A yes and a yes for today and tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is going to feature a little higher chance of rain, but it's not going to be a washout by any stretch of the imagination. So I would still say go for it tomorrow. Only a 30% chance of rain, and if it does rain, it is going to be relatively quick. There are your rain chances through the afternoon hours. Only 10% today. That picks up here around the noon hour and carries us through the evening. Then for tomorrow, notice I'm favoring the early afternoon a little more than the late afternoon, with a 30% chance of rain there, and then 20% from 5 p.m. on. So a slightly better chance of rain tomorrow. Here's how it looks on that hour-by-hour forecast. You see there by 5 o'clock, again, most of us are dry. Still, most of us are dry at 9 o'clock. That's what I mean by a 90% chance of staying dry. On into the overnight, we'll see some clouds build in from the east. That's going to be that easterly breeze holding on, and I think we could fire up the shower activity maybe a little earlier tomorrow. Notice by 10 a.m. we're already seeing some scattered showers across parts of the area tomorrow, and then as we find our way into the afternoon, there will be more where that came from. But as for today, we're in the mid to upper 70s now. We will make our way into the low 80s, and that's about it. This easterly breeze doing us some favors, but that easterly breeze is going to disappear here in the days to come. We are going to go warmer, say 84 for Tuesday, 89 by the time we get to Friday. That is going to be more typical for mid-August rather than the low 80s and upper 70s that we've been doing the past couple of days across the metro area. As for today, 83, 85 in Canton, 88 in Rome, a little warmer up in northwest Georgia, thanks to that easterly breeze not quite making it there, thanks to your neighbors in Fannin and Gilmer and Union, and that's going to be Lumpkin counties and Dawson counties, the higher elevations there, the wind, that cool easterly breeze not necessarily able to make it over those mountains. 84 in Eatonton, 83 in LaGrange this afternoon. But your rain chances, they'll be going up 30% tomorrow, up to 40% Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So that's going to be the highest chance all week. Still not necessarily high, right? That's a 60% chance of staying dry. You add it all up, you get your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. I know you see a lot of lightning strikes there. Wouldn't necessarily lock in on that thunderstorm risk, though, on every afternoon. I would say Tuesday is probably our best chance of that, but still it's going to be something we're watching for nonetheless. Not necessarily looking for that summertime pattern, right? We're not looking at 90s and bubble up showers and storms every day. It's a little bit of a different weather system here at play.
All right, cool. I mean, just looking at it, it is very different than what we experienced last week.
Oh, yeah, the 60s and 70s. So this has been the coolest start to August, the 5th coolest start to August since records have been kept since the late 1800s. And you were asking earlier about any recent one. 2013 stands out in my mind, August of 2013 here in the metro area. That was a cool start. And as we look at this over the next couple of weeks, right, like this 7-day forecast, this takes us now into August, what would that would be August 16th? 15th. So that takes us into the middle part of August, and there is not a alarm bell going off saying, hey, you're about to go above average, right? So that's a good sign as we work our way into the month. But this is Georgia after all, so that means we could hit the 90s, you know, as late September, I think is typically the least, or is the furthest back, most reasonable expectation for 90s. So don't dismiss it as summer's over, but we have seen a break. We're going to continue the break, and we'll see how long we can keep the break going.
Telling me about late September just like hurt my soul a little bit. You joke all the time about the pumpkin spice lattes.
Right.
I really do want to break out my scarf, the lattes, and then my Ugg boots.
October is your
I guess
month.
It's not that time for me.
Exactly. October is more of our fall transitional month, right? There's more of a change from October 1st to October 31st than there is from September 1st to September 30th.
Oh, that's good. Good to know in the sense that now I understand what to expect and when to expect it. Thank you, Alex.
Yep.
And I mean, if you are going to use the forecast that he just gave you, maybe you do want to get out there today. Here's one of the cool events you could go out and visit. Our photojournalist Eli Jordan has been covering the Southeast Reptile Expo out in Duluth. And ooh, Eli, you caught me off guard. You have a friend with you. Tell me more about this one.
I decided to get fashionable, put on my boa. This is a black diamond boa constrictor, and Rick, the owner, said I could name her possibly, and so I'm going to call her Lucille. My Lucille, yep, this is Lucille. She's sweet, she's cold-blooded, but I am here with Rich Del Bono, right?
Correct.
And so you are a boa constrictor guy. You're a snake breeder, right?
I am.
How many snakes have you had in your life, would you say?
Oh, hundreds.
And what do we have here?
This is called a gold dust, which is a hypo-IMG het platinum boa constrictor. This is an adult male.
This is beautiful. So how did you get into snakes?
Because my mom told me I couldn't do it.
And you were like 14 at the time, you said?
Yeah, I was 14 years old. I just had an infatuation with them ever since I was young, and you know, I was told I couldn't do it, and I just kind of rebelled, and now you see where we're at today.
So I've been told that you're like one of the most renowned snake breeders in the world, and you know you're known amongst the snake community. Tell me, what is some of the biggest mistakes first-time reptile owners make?
Several. I mean, you know, buying on a whim, you know, not doing their research. My biggest thing is find somebody you could trust that's made the mistakes already, and you know, so you don't have to make the mistakes. And then find a mentor that can help you out doing what you want to do. So those are the biggest things. And don't buy a bunch of pets. Buy things that you really want to look at when you open the tubs.
And I mean, they're not. A lot of people think you can just, you know, just kind of get them and forget them. But I mean, they require some attention and.
Well, they require everything from us. They rely on everything from us, from feeding to cleaning to housing, everything.
Awesome. And so, how many snakes do you have here at the convention
I think
center?
we brought just around 100.
I'm going to call this guy Dragline for some reason. I'm going to name them all my Cool Hand Luke.
He's liking your camera for some reason.
Yeah. See, the camera lens looks like one big eyeball.
He's really liking that camera lens.
That is cool. And so, do you do anything other, you know, things besides boa constrictors? Is that just your forte here?
No, this is my life. This is everything I love, everything I do. I wake up and I go to sleep doing boa constrictors.
And you guys are out of Florida?
Yes.
And is this your first time in Atlanta?
No, this is our second time doing this show with Bob.
Cool. And what do you guys think about this expo?
My favorite so far. I really like Bob's shows, the way he promotes them, the way he brings people in, the quality of the vendors that he brings in.
Is real quick though, your name of the place is
Da Vinci Boa.
Da Vinci Boa. Do you have a website?
We do not have a website. We have Instagram and social media.
All right. So Da Vinci Boa. If you're interested in knowing more about boa constrictors, or if you want to like,
just look us up.
Yeah, just look up Da Vinci Boa. Rich, thank you very much, and I appreciate this nice, fine, featherless boa that I have around my neck. Like I said, this is Lucille. I got to name her. She's very pretty. She says she's a very rare black diamond boa constrictor, and I think I'm safe. I think she was just fed, so I might be a little bit chunky for her to munch down on if she were to decide to constrict and take all my, choke me to death. But this is cool. This is really cool. I'd say come on down here to the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth. It costs $20 going until 5 o'clock today and then 10 till 5 tomorrow. $20 to get in, so come down and check it out. 148 vendors. Ed and Emily are here from Snake Discovery and the YouTube channel. There's tons of people here getting lined up to meet Ed and Emily in Snake Discovery. You can check out snakes like Lucille here and lots of other things. And we got Dragline, I just called him and named him. So I'm naming snakes out here at the Southeast Reptile Expo. And come see Rich, and because he's got all sorts of, this is a gold
dust.
Gold dust.
Yeah, come down and see him in person.
He's pretty. Awesome. And so come on down here, check out the snakes, and is this snake oil?
It's reptile supplement. Yeah.
It's reptile supplement.
Yeah.
So come on down here, check them out. They got snakes all over the place. Judea.
Pretty cool stuff, Eli. No, I love snakes. The one you have around your neck is so pretty. It kind of reminds me like a cookies and cream. I love it.
I know it is a cookies and cream. Yeah, it is. I know. Now I want a cookies and cream chocolate bar.
Sorry, I'm getting you hungry.
Come on down here, Duluth, at the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth till 5 o'clock today, and then all day tomorrow, 10 a.m. till 5 o'clock tomorrow. So come on out, $20 to get in, and there's discounts for seniors and veterans and things like that. And come get your creep on.
Get your creep on.
It's a really good time. She's sweet though. I like her.
She's a sweetheart.
She's real sweet.
And then the other one, the other one seemed like he was ready for his close-up, getting all close to the camera and whatnot. But back.
He's all coiled up. Oh yeah.
Letting you guys know about the
expo.
Yeah, letting you guys know a little bit more about the expo. Like Eli said, you can't get out there until 5 p.m. If today was it should serve as an example of what you should do, it is get there early, because as we know, they weren't supposed to open up until about 10 o'clock, and yet we were seeing people coming in the doors already. There were so many people lined up outside the Gas South Center. The expo there in Duluth, that they had to open the doors because it was becoming a fire hazard, that there were just so many people out there. And so, letting you know that you have until 5 p.m. I think he said it was about $20 at the door. Let them know that Fox 5 Atlanta sent you, that you were streaming Fox Local when you heard about the cool things happening down there at the Southeast Reptile Expo. And remember, he said that it wasn't just the reptiles. They have amphibians. They have a whole slew of insects, tarantulas. They also had apparently monkeys. Maybe we'll get to see them a little later on. We are going to keep streaming for you guys. Don't go anywhere. In the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to have a lot more content coming up for you. We'll be right back.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. Standing by is Alex Forbes. Alex, what is the weather this weekend? I hope you have some good news with all this fake fall.
Exactly. So we are still going to be below average this weekend. We're also looking at only a slim chance of rain. It's not zero, but it is pretty slim at only about 10%. Here's where things stand right now. You saw that shot from downtown looking up north towards Midtown. You got that cloud cover in place, but we're beginning to see some breaks in the clouds as expected, and our temperature continues to warm. Now to 77 in Atlanta, 76 in Covington. How about 78 down in Eatonton and 75 in Athens? That cloud cover extends back into Alabama. Not seeing any shower development out of that just yet. And to be quite honest with you, we're not expecting to see much through the day today. As I mentioned, that rain chance at 10% for all of north and central Georgia. There's no one spot that's favored over another here through the afternoon. It's equal playing field. Tomorrow, I think that'll change, and I'll show you that on the hour by hour in just a moment. But into the low 80s this afternoon, and that's it. Our average high is 90. We're not coming close to that. An easterly breeze at 5 to 10 miles an hour will continue. It is possible to see some gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour. Sunset this evening is going to be at 8:30. That continues to get earlier and earlier. So there go the clouds, but hanging on to a couple sprinkles this afternoon. You just see a couple of green dots on the landscape. Into the evening tonight, any shower activity we do see quickly fades away. And then through the overnight, I am watching some clouds moving in from South Carolina. Those might bring some early morning showers in eastern Georgia tomorrow. And then I'm looking for a better chance of rain in the metro area for tomorrow afternoon at about 30%. And I would highlight areas south of Interstate 20 here for a slightly better chance of rain through the afternoon hours. Then all that activity fades away before we pick it up again for Monday morning. Likely going to need the rain jacket at a handful of bus stops across the metro area, especially the further south you are. LaGrange down to Thomaston and Eatonton gets in on the rain action earlier in the day, and then everybody's got a decent chance of rain here through the afternoon. But as for today, 83 in the city, 85 in Canton, 82 up in Blairsville, 83 in Athens, 84 in Covington. Where the easterly breeze is not able to get over the mountain range, i.e. northwest Georgia, that's where you're going to be able to get up towards about 86 later on today. So we'll say mid to upper 80s up there thanks to those neighbors off to the east. All right, 70 in Atlanta, 70 in Canton, 65 in Blairsville, 70 in Athens, and 69 in Rome. A 10% chance of rain today gives way to a 30% chance of rain tomorrow, and then Elizabeth, a 40% chance of rain Monday through Wednesday, maybe even mixing in some storms. Maybe, not a guarantee, just a maybe there for Tuesday. High temperatures a little closer to average for the end of the week.
All right, thanks so much, Alex Forbes. We'll check back in just a bit. Meanwhile, we continue to follow breaking news here in our newsroom. In the last few hours, we found out that that shooter in the CDC shooting has been identified as 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White. He has just been identified as that shooter that killed that officer. We had continuing coverage throughout the evening. We want to go to our Lindsay Tuman, who is following this story. Flags flying at half staff this morning. Lindsay.
Good morning to Elizabeth. Yeah, I'm live at the DeKalb County Police headquarters, where you can see those flags at half staff here behind me, honoring the life of Officer David Rose, a 33-year-old police officer who was killed in the line of duty while responding to that active shooter situation yesterday near the CDC headquarters, as well as the Emory University's main campus. Those moments really sent people in the community into a panic as they heard gunfire bursting around them and unsure where exactly it was coming from and what exactly was happening. Officer Rose was killed in the line of duty while responding to that shooting. We've learned a little bit more about him this morning, including the fact that he was a Marine veteran, had only graduating from the Police Department Academy back in March. He joined here at DeKalb County Police in September of last year. He also leaves behind a wife and 2 children, and one on the way as well. Certainly heavy hearts here at DeKalb County Police headquarters, throughout the law enforcement community and the community as a whole. A little bit more about that shooting yesterday. Again, the latest information coming from the GBI, which is the lead agency in this case right now. They tell us that Patrick Joseph White, 30 years old, from Kennesaw, is the suspected gunman. He died during this event as well. They also tell us that a number of agencies were involved in yesterday's incident, including Atlanta, Brookhaven, Chamblee, Dunwoody, DeKalb County Police Departments, as well as Georgia State Patrol, though again, Georgia Bureau of Investigation is the lead agency at this time. They also said that there was extensive evidence to collect, calling it a very complex scene. They say they are still conducting interviews and that the investigation is going to take an extended period of time. Our reporter was live on the scene this morning where areas were still covered in police tape, roads still closed as that investigation continues. All of this happened at the CVS at Emory Point, right across the street from CDC headquarters. And we actually obtained some pictures from CDC headquarters buildings, windows that had gunshots fired at them. We also heard from the CDC director addressing this shooting and the area as well. There's still a lot to uncover in this case, though it's clear that our first responders jumped quickly into action, especially as people in the area were left wondering what exactly was happening in the area around them.
This officer responded to the call as he did, as he was trained to do. And during that incident, he received gunfire and he lost his life in this incident. He was committed to serving the community. At this time, we're asking for the community's prayers.
There are 3 children, 1 unborn without a father. There is a mother and a father, as well as siblings, who also share in this traumatic loss. Let's join together to give this family the support that it needs during this traumatic loss.
A loss felt by so many, again, in the law enforcement community and beyond. And still so many questions in this case, including the motive behind it. That's certainly something that folks have a lot of questions about. Now, one thing I want to add is that there were no other physical injuries reported, though 4 people were taken to the hospital to be treated for stress and anxiety in the wake of that incident, understandably so. And as we continue to get answers from investigators, we'll keep you updated. But for now, that's the very latest. Live from DeKalb County Police Headquarters, I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Lindsay, thanks so much. And just to add to what we're continuing to learn more about that shooter, again, his name is Patrick Joseph White, age 30, from Kennesaw, Georgia. We continue to dig into his background to learn more as to why he may have done this. We learned that, again, he's from Kennesaw. We have learned that he may have grown up there, maybe have ties to Kennesaw State University. We don't want to disclose too much information. We don't want to assume too much, but as you know, we will continue to identify as much as we can and try to confirm as much as we can before we release that information. But again, so sad, so disturbing situation for these families. And again, we'll continue to follow this and keep you updated. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more news and weather. Well, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, taking a live look at the White House. Such a beautiful Saturday in D.C. Obviously, continuing to follow breaking news. We now know the name of that shooter with that CDC shooting that happened Friday night around 5 o'clock, just down the street from our studios. That officer who was killed. Flags are flying at half staff here in Georgia this morning. We're still waiting to hear. We want to take that shot one more time. We're still waiting to hear from President Trump. He's one of and the White House regarding that shooting, because from what we're hearing, the New York Times is reporting that this has everything to do with the coronavirus, that this was motivated by the coronavirus vaccine. Again, this is what we're hearing. Have not confirmed that, but this is what other outlets are reporting. Sadly, that is what this potentially this shooting was motivated by. But other we've heard from Governor Kemp. Want to give you a shot of his tweet that he tweeted over the last 24 hours, saying, quote, I'm going to pull it up myself so I can read it a little bit better. Here we go, right there. Saying, quote, the entire Kemp family is also mourning today's tragic loss of Officer David Rose. His service and memory will not be forgotten by a grateful state, and his loved ones and fellow DeKalb County police officers will remain in our hearts and prayers as they grieve his passing. And he just retweeted, obviously, the original post. So sad there. And also we're hearing from Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock saying, I'm mourning the tragic death of the officer who was killed in the line of duty today, and I'm praying for the officer's family and friends. Georgia law enforcement saved countless lives, and we are grateful for their service. Earlier this year, I stood where the shooting occurred, rallying for fired CDC employees who worked tirelessly to protect their public health and national security. CDC workers are our friends, our colleagues, and our neighbors. I will always have their backs of Georgia's dedicated public health workers. And again, this is very much a developing story that we are going to continue to follow and keep you updated throughout the morning and afternoon as this story continues to develop. But we want to turn now to a very interesting story, but it's perfect for our very interesting photographer, journalist, Eli Jordan is covering reptiles this morning. Eli, what you got?
Hey, what's up, Elizabeth? I'm down here at the GAFS South Energy Convention Center in Duluth at the Southeast Reptile Expo. And I had a boa around my neck last time, and this time I get to check out the tree frogs. Yeah, these Australian tree frogs are cool. I'm going to name this one Mitch. His name's Mitch. He's been he just woke up. He knew the camera's going to be on him. And I am with Lindsay Sterling.
Hello.
Hey, Lindsay,
Hello,
how's
everyone.
it going? I like your tree frogs.
Thanks for stopping by and checking us out today.
Yeah,
I got another one out as well.
Oh, yeah?
An Amazon milk tree frog.
Is this one I can lick?
You know, you could lick it.
Oh, wait, they
but
like
it's not
each other.
going to do much.
Oh, look, they're like friends. So this is Amazon. Would you say this one is this again?
This one is an Amazon milk tree frog.
Okay.
This is
I'll
a
let you get him
youngster.
so we don't- okay.
They will get a little bit bigger than this. So this is about a 6-month-old frog.
Aw,
They get about 3 to 4 inches long.
Cool.
And as well as the white tree frogs, which you named Mitch there. He is a white tree frog, aka a dumpy tree frog or Australian green tree frog. And they get rather large. So while this guy's about probably 2.75 inches,
Right.
we will easily get to 4 inches.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you get into frogs?
Oh, we actually started by keeping American toads as pets.
What's the difference between a frog and a toad?
That's a tricky one. So all toads can be frogs, but not all frogs are toads. Toads are defined by having bumpier textured skin, and they're usually a terrestrial species, whereas frogs are usually tree frogs.
Can you get warts from handling the frog?
That is a myth. I did ask my dermatologist. That is a myth. So no warts from frogs. You are totally safe. We wear gloves to keep the frogs safe. They actually have osmotic skin, so they can absorb everything through that delicate skin. While it's delicate, it's also strong at the same time, but it can absorb harmful things from our hands, like sanitizer, lotions, things like that. So that's why we encourage really clean hands or gloves when you're handling your frog. And let me grab another really big tree frog for you.
All right. This is a really cool place, Elizabeth. They got all sorts of creepy, cool things. And this is something, Lindsay, I told you earlier, I walked up, and Elizabeth, I thought this was a prop. I thought this was this frog was plastic, because he was just sitting there outside at the display.
That neck
and
moving.
you can see he's not plastic. He is alive, and he's just chilling. I think this guy actually runs
Hand for size reference.
the booth here. And
He does. He runs the booth.
This is the guy right here.
Yeah.
He runs the show
Now,
here.
females get about double this size. So our female is about that much bigger than this guy.
And what kind of frog is this?
This is a Philomedusa bicolor.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Also known as a waxy monkey tree frog. So I've got a
Waxy
little
monkey.
informational card right there. Philomedusa bicolor.
Cool. I
Very
like
cool
the,
tree frogs from South America.
His hands seem a little bit, I mean, you can actually
They're
see
like
fingers and
aliens.
stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That is cool. Hello, froggy.
Big sticky toe pads.
So what's the biggest, what do people need to know if they want to, like, take up keeping a frog at their house?
Keeping a frog at the house, you're going to want to pick the species that's best for you. A lot of people favor the White's tree frogs because they are low humidity. So that would be something to consider is your humidity and how much humidity you want to deal with. Popular frogs like dart frogs, other small tree frog species are going to require a bit more humidity than your larger frog species, like our big guy right here, sitting out in the open, totally dry. That is how he likes to be. A lot of people associate frogs with water, and while that is somewhat true, there are a lot of, especially these larger tree frog species, actually like a lot of ventilation, a lot of airflow, and lower humidity.
What about chirping and stuff at night?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are several species that are going to make some noises at night, but most of the ones that we work with are going to be fairly quiet. Now, the White's tree frogs can definitely croak a bit at night. They're going to croak a lot more when they're younger and a lot less as they get older and a little bit lazier.
Awesome.
They also tend to only go in like 20-second bursts.
Cool, cool. Well, Elizabeth, if you want a frog, if you want a tree frog, come on down here to the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth. It's going on all day today till 5 o'clock and then all day tomorrow from 10 until 5. $20 to get in. And also, too, though, I noticed that there's a big old line
for
people to go check out Snake Discovery with Ed and Emily. I am not well versed on the YouTube stuff, but Snake Discovery is apparently hugely popular. Ed and Emily, they're out here, they're signing stuff, they're getting pictures made, and there's a big line to check those. Check out Ed and Emily and say hey to them. So I mean, if you're into Snake Discovery on YouTube, they're out here too. There's frogs, amphibians, insects. I saw some birds. So come on out here. It's a really, really, really cool spot at the Duluth Gas South Convention Center. $20 to get in all day today till 5.
Come on out and see us.
Yeah, come on out and see us. See some cold-blooded stuff.
We got a fun crowd.
That'll be cool. Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Eli Jordan. You always get the best assignments. We'll check back in. I don't know if I would be able to stomach all those reptiles, but good for you. All right, thanks so much. All right, thanks so much for streaming with us. Stick around. We've got more weather after this break. Good morning. Almost afternoon. Thanks for joining and streaming with us. Taking a live look at the campus of Emory, where sadly that deadly shooting happened less than 24 hours ago. We had continuing coverage throughout the evening, and we continue to follow that coverage. But first, we want to check in with your forecast.
Yeah, so we're starting off the morning. You saw clouds there over the Emory campus this morning. That's how we've really started the morning hours. Now almost getting into the afternoon. The mornings fly by. We are looking at temperatures still pretty similar, though, to where we started this morning. Here's where things stand. 77 in Atlanta. It's only 5 degrees warmer than our low temperature at about 6 o'clock this morning. 73 in Griffin. Eatonton's already to 81. 75 in Athens. 75 in Blairsville. And 76 over in Canton. Fox 5 Live Viper right now, not spotting any showers just yet. And I'm honestly not expecting to see much today. The rain chances relatively low at about 10% through most of the afternoon. We'll pick those up here in the next hour or so. And then for tomorrow, notice that rain chance running a bit higher, especially earlier in the afternoon at 30%, and then down to a 20% chance of rain, we'll say from 5 to about 9 p.m. So we'll say enjoy the outdoors today, enjoy the outdoors tomorrow. We will have a rain chance both days, but it is not a washout by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, most people will go both days with no impacts in terms of Mother Nature watering us, if you will. Great day to head out to the pool as well. Already seeing the breaks in the clouds. Temperatures getting into the low 80s. It's not going to be oppressively hot out there, and we'll be in the 80s for several hours from, say, 1 to about 7 o'clock this evening. So a nice afternoon on the way. 82 for tomorrow, 82 on Monday. That's going to be because of a slightly cooler start before we get back into the mid to upper 80s by the time we get to Friday. Been a while since we've been there. Past week and a half have been pretty nice across the metro area. 85 in Canton today, 83 in Blairsville, 84 in Eatonton, and 84 over in Thomaston. There are your rain chances over the next couple of days. So they go up tomorrow, but they're going to go up even more for Monday and Wednesday. Not very high, but still 40%. That's 4 times the chance of rain that we have today across the area. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Resembles more of a summertime pattern, but it's not exactly that. I think by the time we get towards Thursday and Friday, that summertime heat, though, is going to begin to build back in. But Elizabeth, this time of year, when we're talking about summertime heat, I'm talking about upper 80s rather than low 90s. Those numbers Thursday and Friday, still technically below average.
I've officially decided that you need a hair and humidity forecast.
Okay.
Because I think every time I get up, I'm like, what's my hair gonna do today?
you give me the scale and I'll build the graphic. How about that?
Okay, I think
I don't know much about it.
I think it would be great. I think us girls could get on board. Like, okay, is it a ponytail day? Is it okay? Can I trust wearing it down today? Because if I wear it, if I style it down and walk outside and it's just going to be basically undone, it's not even worth it. So that would be a ponytail day.
And I'll make sure in that blue bar up top it says Elizabeth's hair forecast. So you've got to tell me the categories, but then I need the verdict each morning because, again, this isn't exactly my realm.
No, I definitely think there's something to this.
Okay.
Girls, I think we could appreciate something like this. All right. Okay. All right. Next time. One more on this. All right. Thanks so much, Alex Forbes. All right. Turning now, we have continuing coverage of that CDC shooting. We want to go to our Lindsay Tuman, who is joining us live with the latest. Flags flying half-staff this morning. Lindsay.
Yes, good morning to Elizabeth. I'm here outside of DeKalb County Police Headquarters where those flags are flying half-staff in honor of Officer David Rose, who lost his life while responding to that active shooter situation, which happened right outside of CDC headquarters and near the main campus of Emory University, sending both campuses into lockdown for several hours yesterday into the evening hours as well. People in the area really left wondering what exactly was happening while they heard gunfire outside of that very busy area. Now, what we know about Officer David Rose, a DeKalb County police officer who had only graduated from the police of this year. He actually joined back in September, and previous to that, he served as a Marine. So a man who dedicated his life to serving others, serving his community, serving his country. He also leaves behind a wife and 2 children. A 3rd child was on the way as well. Certainly a devastating loss for this community, the law enforcement community, and well beyond that as well. We've also learned this morning more details about the suspected gunman in this situation. situation. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, rather, is the lead agency in this case. They said that they have identified that person as Patrick Joseph White, 30 years old, from Kennesaw. We have another reporter who actually is up in Kennesaw right now and interviewed some of his neighbors. You're going to hear more on that in the later hours of our coverage. But what we do know is that this is a very active investigation, and one that is going to take quite some time. There were a number of agencies involved, from Brookhaven, Atlanta, DeKalb County, Dunwoody, Chamblee, Georgia Public Safety, as well as the GBI, and all of them came together to process this scene. Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents say that this is a very complicated scene with a lot of evidence that they needed to process, as well as a number of witnesses that they needed to interview as well. They say the investigation is going to take an extended period of time. All of this, again, happening in a very busy area. It actually happened, according to Atlanta police, in the CVS at Emory Point, across the street from CDC headquarters, though we have images from CDC workers of bullet holes in the windows of that building. What we have learned, again, from Atlanta police is that this happened on the second floor of that CVS. And while all of these first responders were quick to jump into action, people in the community were really left shaken and wondering what exactly was happening around them.
Then we heard several more sirens. So we didn't know what happened. Then I turned on the TV to see what the news said, and here it was, an active shooter. Then they didn't know how many people were being active, if it was a group or what.
Very disturbing moments for so many who were there. I also want to add, there was a daycare right there as well with near 100 children. That daycare remained on lockdown into the evening hours as well. Many of those parents left emotional, waiting to reunite with their kids while they were listening to all of this happening around them. A good thing to note is that nobody was injured other than the folks who were involved in this. No other reports of injuries, though there were 4 people who were taken to the hospital to be treated for stress and anxiety. This investigation continues to be developing, and as soon as we get more details, we'll keep you updated. But for now, that's the very latest. Live in DeKalb County, I'm Lindsay Tuman. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Lindsay Tuman. And like she was talking about, we have been following this story since it broke just less than 12 hours ago. We have reporters that are still working on this story. We have reporters that have gone to the suspect's home and just spoke to family members of that suspect. We are working to actually get that sound, efforting that sound as we speak, minute by minute. So we are going to bring that to you live in just a few minutes. We're going to take a short break and hopefully have that for you on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Thanks for streaming with us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. And welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Thanks for streaming with us. Hope you're enjoying your day. Maybe you're outside walking the dog. Maybe you're enjoying some other kind of animals. Eli Jordan is hanging out with the reptiles. Eli.
My dog. Hey, Elizabeth, I am down here at the in Duluth at the Gas South Energy Convention Center in Duluth, like I said, and it is the Southeast Reptile Expo. But right now, I am hanging out with some carnivorous plants. These are pitcher plants. You got little ants that can go down in there and they can fall down and they drown. Dun dun dun. And then we have some hardcore Venus flytraps. Did you know the Venus flytrap is native to the Carolinas, Elizabeth? It's really cool. But I'm here with Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
And Sarah, you got some crickets, right?
I do.
And we're going to, you're going to demo how Venus flytrap works?
I am.
So where are we going to go?
So we're going to go in this one right here.
Focus set up real quick. All right, here we go, Elizabeth. This is really cool. Carnivorous plants.
You got to trigger the little trigger hairs inside.
Let's see if he's hungry.
Or you have a trap that's going to be, here, let's try this one.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me check my focus. Maybe they're not, maybe they've been overfed. Maybe,
that's an older trap. There we go. Oh no! It got stuck.
Fall out.
No, I got stuck on my tweezers.
Uh-oh. Can you do one more, maybe?
Yeah.
These are cool. I mean, these are carnivorous plants. I guess, can you overfeed them?
Not really. If there's an open trap, you can feed it.
Cool.
All right.
All right, so where we're going to go, let me get set up real quick.
Try this one here.
Cool. All right, rock and roll. Uh-oh. That is so cool. Can you feed it? That is neat. Yeah, but what all can you feed them?
You can feed them bloodworms. You can feed them crickets. You can feed them pretty much any sort of live material helps for Venus flytraps, because the live insects will stimulate the plant to seal completely shut, like this one here. And then it will suck all the nutrients out and it will spit out the rest of the bug later. These ones, you can feed it any sort of bug you find, really, and it will wedge itself in there and it will release digestive enzymes. And then sundew, they will use their little sticky tendrils here and bugs will get stuck on them. These ones will wrap up around it, kind of like this Drosera regia right here. See, it's wrapping around its prey. Yeah, pretty sticky. So they're all a little different.
As far as Venus flytraps, if I were to get one, do I put it in the window? Do I put it in the shade? How much, you know?
You want to put it outside in the full sun and have it sitting in a tray of water. Like this one here, you can see wet. And you want to use distilled reverse osmosis or rainwater. You want to have the full sun. And for soil, you want to use peat, perlite, and sand.
Cool. Sounds a lot like sort of like cactus, but a lot more water involved.
A lot more water.
And then how often do you have to feed them?
You should be growing them outside in the full sun. They have their own attractant, and they will feed themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feed them for fun at these shows, though.
And so they make better outdoor plants than indoor plants?
They do, especially if you live in the South. If you live in the South, just keep them outside.
Cool, cool. Awesome, awesome. Elizabeth, again, I am here at the, here I am. I'm at the Southeast Reptile Expo and at the Gas South Energy Convention Center. That's a lot to get out in Duluth. It's going on all day today till 5 o'clock and tomorrow from 10 a.m. till 5. Get down here. It's packed. People are still coming in. They're lined up at the door. You can come down here, see Sarah's booth, get yourself some carnivorous plants and all that good stuff. See some snakes, see some turtles, and you know, also too, Snake Discovery from YouTube channel. Ed and Emily are here. So come down, check them out. They're quite popular. I have no idea who they are, but they're really popular.
Eli, all I hear when they, can you hear me? All I hear with carnivorous is Jimmy Buffett singing Cheeseburger in Paradise when he talks about his carnivorous habits. Those carnivorous flowers.
Yeah, I guess he did hang out in the Carolinas, I guess, and maybe that's where it came from. I didn't know that they were native to the Carolinas. I was surprised when I discovered that. I always felt that they came from some foreign world.
I don't know.
You know, familiar to ourselves.
Anyways, all right. Well, thanks so much, Eli. We'll check back in. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we continue to follow breaking news. We have the very latest. We have just talked to someone very close to that suspected gunman in the CDC shooting. Don't go away. You're not going to want to miss this. We have live coverage next. And welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. We continue to follow breaking news. That CDC shooting just less than 12 hours ago. We've had continuing coverage since it happened. That deadly shooting, flags flying at half staff this morning after that officer was killed in the line of duty. We want to go to our Kim Leffler. She is standing by in Kennesaw. That is where that suspect was from. The suspect who has been ID'd as Patrick Joseph White of Kennesaw. Kim, you just moments ago spoke to a neighbor who knew him. What's the latest?
Yeah, this is the neighborhood where that suspected shooter, Patrick Joseph White, grew up. This is his home here behind me. We did confirm this is where he lived. We did go up to the door, and a gentleman who answered the door there did not wish to speak with us. But as you mentioned, I did just speak with a neighbor who said that Patrick grew up here, and he was really surprised to learn that the GBI says he was the one behind the shooting. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I seen him walking around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have any indication or any idea why he would be in that area?
I had zero clue, and when I seen the cops, I was wondering what was going on, and they finally talked to my dad, and I was like, there's no way, Patrick. I feel like I've known Patrick for most of my life. Not really known him, but, like I said, seen him around the neighborhood. Not the kind of person I would thought to do that, but stuff happens. So.
Did you ever talk with him?
I talked with him briefly, now and again. He'd come by the house and be like, hey, your grandfather wants this done. And, but that's about it. Nothing really, no deep conversations or nothing like that.
Did he work in other neighbors' yards and homes?
He pretty much worked around this little area. He had a few, I guess, customers like around the neighborhood that he would go and do yard work for. But besides that, I don't know what he did for a living.
When you heard the news, when you heard that he was the suspect, what went through your mind?
I just couldn't believe it was him. It feels so weird to be so close and connected to a tragedy.
Yeah.
So.
Describe a little more about when the officers were here last night. Again, what time did they come? How many did you see?
There's like, I don't know, around 10 cop cars, and they, breached up to the house, got the parents out. I don't think they knew until they showed up either, so I don't know if they were in contact with them, but just a wild scenario.
About how long were they here last night?
About 3 hours, because I went to bed around 2:30 and they were still here, but they were kind of dwindling off. So maybe 3-4 hours.
And it was around 11:30 you said they first got here?
Right, and I went to bed at 2:30, so they were probably here till 3:30, 4, so late night.
What was going through your mind when you saw all of them pull up last night?
I was just thinking, I was peeking out my window, and then we came down here and watched outside, just wondering, what's going on. And then finally they came down and told us what had happened. It's surreal that it was him,
And you think he grew up in this house?
He did, yes, sir.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. Lived there with his parents?
Correct.
Anybody else live there?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I know they had family rolling in and out every few months, like visiting, but that's about it.
Okay.
Just them three, for the most part.
Wow, what a chilling interview. Kim Loeffler joining us now back out live. Wow, I'm just speechless. I'm sure that was, talk about that interview. I know that was a lot to process. You've been covering this since it happened.
Interview there, the neighbors say that Patrick would do yard work at a lot of different houses in this area. I also spoke with another neighbor off camera, and I know earlier on this stream we had been reporting information from the New York Times that says that, Patrick had been upset, thinking that the COVID-19 vaccine had led to some of his ailments. The neighbor that I spoke with off camera did confirm that information. She did say that a lot of people in the neighborhood knew about his beliefs for, for quite some time here. Again, people I've spoken to do not know, besides the fact that the CDC was right there, why he was over at that CVS. They don't know exactly what brought him down to that area, but everyone here certainly still in shock. A lot of neighbors, just not wanting to talk about it right now. Again, the police did get here around 11:30 last night, as you heard in that interview. They were here for about 3 hours, according to neighbors. As you can see, there's not a law enforcement presence here currently, but certainly this neighborhood in shock and very shaken up by all this.
All right, Kim, don't go away. We want to check back in with you at the top of the hour. We have to take a short break, though, before then. We are going to listen to that sound again because this is a lot to process, and I know our viewers are very interested in this. We continue our live team coverage on this story, and we definitely want to take a deeper dive, and I want to continue this conversation with you, but we have to take a short break. We'll see you on the other side of this break at noon. Stay with us. Good afternoon. New this noon, we continue to follow breaking news, new developments in that CDC shooting. We, in the last hour, have heard from neighbors of the alleged gunman in this case, Patrick White, 30 years old, of Kennesaw. We just heard from a neighbor. We're going to come to that story in just a bit. But first, we want to check in with Alex Forbes with a look at your weekend forecast. Alex.
Yeah, Elizabeth, now past the noon hour, temperatures continuing to rise across the area, but not too much. 78 in Atlanta. That's only 6 degrees warmer than we were for our morning low temperature earlier this morning. 79 in Gainesville, 78 in Athens, 81 in Eatonton. Look at that down to the south, a couple of green specks. There's your 10% chance of rain here through the day today. Across the southeast, that cloud cover extends back into Alabama, and we have some activity down along the coast. I tell you what, Savannah and St. Simons and that area down along the Georgia coast has seen a lot of rain through the overnight hours. How about Houston? It's 11:02 in the morning there, and it's already 91. So this is just a reminder that we are not dealing with this big-time summer heat. It's going to be warm today, but this is still a little atypical for this time of year. 10% chance of rain for all of north and central Georgia here through the afternoon, and that's going to come in the form of just a couple of sprinkles. That wind out of the east today going to be responsible for keeping us us on the cooler side. Sunset is at 8:30. That continues to get earlier as well. Here's how it shakes out on the hour-by-hour forecast. Notice there's your northeasterly or easterly breeze for most of us. Places like Rome up towards Calhoun, maybe over towards Dalton, they're going to be able to get a couple degrees warmer today because that breeze is not able to make it all the way over the southern Appalachian Mountains there. Look how many more wind little lines you have down in between, say, Cornelia and Augusta than you do up across the northeast Georgia mountains. So that's why it's going to be warmer over there. Again, just a couple of green specks on into the overnight. Here comes some more cloud cover once again with some scattered showers for tomorrow. That rain chance coming in at about 30%. Before today, 83 here in Atlanta, 84 in Covington, Athens, 82 in Blairsville and in Gainesville, 86 in Rome and 83 in LaGrange. Then for tonight, down to 70 here in the city, 69 in Canton, 65 in Blairsville and 69 over in Rome. A quick check of the tropics for you. We do have this disturbance out there in the central Atlantic. It has a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days. That chance has actually gone down. Overall, not too concerned about it, but what I am watching is this big wave that just rolled off of the African coast. That has a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days, and that number is up. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. Of course, you're looking at the orange blob. That's kind of forecasting the next 7 days. And, you're looking at that, and you're looking at the proximity to the Lesser Antilles. Yeah, it's kind of close, which means it bears watching. The next name on the 2025 list is going to be Aaron, followed by Fernand here in the Atlantic Basin. Here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast now. Looking for 83 today, 82 tomorrow. A little more in the way of morning cloud cover. That's going to take longer to break. That's why we're a degree cooler. But then we start that new warming trend, Elizabeth, into the end of the week. A 30 to 40% chance of rain, including some storms at times, but no day in particular is a washout.
All right, I'm working on that hair and humidity.
Yes. The
gauge
scale
for you. Scale, thank you.
Yep.
That's what I was working. All us girls need it. All right, thanks so much, Alex Forbes. Okay, turning now, we continue to follow breaking news. The CDC shooting happened just less than 12 hours ago. Kim Leffler joining us now live. She's been on this from the very beginning. Kim, you just spoke to neighbors moments ago who knew Patrick White, the alleged gunman in this case. Kim, what can you tell us?
Yeah, neighbors tell us that Patrick White grew up in this Kennesaw neighborhood. This is his home where he grew up behind me. We did go to the door earlier this morning, and an older gentleman who we believe was his father opened and did not wish to speak with us. But neighbors tell us that Patrick would do yard work for a lot of neighbors in this neighborhood, and people really, surprised to hear that he is the one who GBI officials say was behind the shooting last night. Take a listen to one neighbor that we spoke with just moments ago and his reaction to hearing the news.
I seen him walk around the neighborhood. Seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character, but from what I've, seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have any indication or any idea why he would be in that area?
I had zero clue, and when I seen the cops, I was wondering what was going on, and they finally talked to my dad, and I was like, there's no way, Patrick. I feel like I've known Patrick for most of my life. Not really known him, but, like I said, seen him around the neighborhood. Not the kind of person I would thought to do that, but stuff happens, so.
Did you ever talk with him?
I talked with him briefly, now and again. He'd come by the house and be like, hey, your grandfather wants this done. And, but that's about it. Nothing really, no deep conversations or nothing like that.
Did he work in other neighbors' yards and homes?
He pretty much worked around this little area. He had a few, I guess, customers, like, around the neighborhood that he would go and do yard work for. But besides that, I don't know what he did for a living.
When you heard the news, when you heard that he was the suspect, what went through your mind?
I just couldn't believe it was him. It feels so weird to be so close and connected to a tragedy.
Yeah.
So.
Describe a little more about when the officers were here last night. Again, what time did they come? How many did you see?
There's like, I don't know, around 10 cop cars, and they, breached up to the house, got the parents out. I don't think they knew until they showed up either, so I don't know if they were in contact with them, but just a wild scenario.
About how long were they here last night?
About 3 hours, because I went to bed around 2:30 and they were still here, but they were kind of dwindling off. So maybe 3-4 hours.
And it was around 11:30 you said they first got here?
Right, and I went to bed at 2:30, so they were probably here till 3:30, 4, so late night.
What was going through your mind when you saw all of them pull up last night?
I was just thinking, I was peeking out my window, and then we came down here and watched outside, just wondering, what's going on. And then finally they came down and told us what had happened. It's surreal that it was him,
And you think he grew up in this house?
He did, yes, sir.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. Lived there with his parents?
Correct.
Anybody else live there?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I know they had family rolling in and out every few months, like visiting, but that's about it.
Okay.
Just them three for the most part.
Kim Leffler getting this interview with a neighbor of Patrick White, 30 years old, who is the suspected gunman who is now deceased after that CDC shooting. Kim, I have so many questions after that interview, and I kind of just want to process this with you live here as we continue to stream this. He said, he lived here. He said here, I mean, this gentleman standing in front of a house, was that the house that he grew up in? Or kind of give us some perspective of where you are in relation to, where he lived or where his parents lived. We don't need to technically necessarily identify, but kind of give us that process of, where were you and how this all kind of plays out. We can open up her mic.
And we are in kind of a cul-de-sac area. There are probably around 5 or so houses right around this cul-de-sac, but it's a very quiet neighborhood. And this is a spot where neighbors confirm that Patrick White did grow up. As you heard in that interview, he did yard work for a lot of the neighbors. And we did speak with another neighbor off camera. I know earlier in this stream we were reporting information from the New York Times that says that White had some blame the COVID-19 vaccine for making him sick and some of his ailments. And one of the neighbors here did confirm that information with me off camera. She said that is something that people knew about for a while in this neighborhood, but people don't know exactly why he would have been down there. Obviously the CDC is right there, but they don't know why he would have been at that CVS from what we are talking to from the neighbors here. A lot of neighbors did not want to speak with us as well. Certainly people here very shaken up by this news, just learning about this overnight. Law enforcement, we're told, got here around 11:30, and they were here for several hours investigating. We do not see any law enforcement officials on scene at this hour, but certainly people here still processing all this information.
Very traumatic for the community, right? I mean, you never expect something like this to happen. You feel victimized and you feel sort of blindsided, right? You think, oh, I was supposed to have seen this coming, and so I'm sure these neighbors and those close in that circle are kind of racking their brains of, did I see the warning signs? And so, wow, I know that this community is shaken up. It seems such a very affluent area. Educated area to happen, and it can happen to anyone, anybody, any socioeconomic situation. Wow. So thank you so much for your coverage. You were covering this last night. I was watching your coverage. Talk about where you were in relation to where you are now, and kind of walk us through sort of where you've been and where you are now, and sort of that kind of put a bow on it for us.
Sure. So I started yesterday evening. I was at Grady actually covering another shooting where 2 MARTA police officers were injured. One was still recovering at Grady. And initially we thought that there were potentially the officer who was shot last night was going to be going to Grady. We then learned that he had been taken to Emory University Hospital. So my photographer and I headed over there. And as soon as we got on scene, right around 6:45 or so, we saw a very heavy law enforcement presence outside of the hospital. And right around 8:30 last night is when the DeKalb County Interim Police Chief and the DeKalb County CEO did confirm that that officer had Officer Rose, who we learned his identity last night, that he had passed away in this shooting. So Emory University Hospital is only about a 3 or 4 minute drive from where that shooting happened, right by the CDC and that CVS. So they were able to get him to the hospital very quickly. But of course, Kennesaw here is about, a 40-minute or so drive from that area over in DeKalb County where the shooting happened. So certainly is some distance there, but the hospital was very, very close to where the shooting occurred. And then it was around 9:30 last night. We actually saw a procession, all those officers with their lights and sirens going down Clifton Road there, following an ambulance escorting the body of Officer Rose from the hospital.
Wow. So much has happened in such a short period of time. Again, so much to process. And again, Kim Leffler in Cobb County, this all unfolding in DeKalb County. And so many pieces of the puzzle as we continue to follow this coverage. Thank you so much. We continue to hear from officials on this coverage, including Governor Kemp, Senator Warnock. We're waiting to hear from the Trump administration, especially since there is speculation that this is related to, a political or a Trump administration, decision to related to the coronavirus and a CDC decision to make adjustments with that. Of course, we have live continuing coverage. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I've been enjoying this fake fall.
Fake fall is slowly but surely coming to an end. I was joking on Good Day Atlanta earlier this week. At least it's being polite about it. Yes. Right? We're not going from 60 to 100 like that. And honestly, I don't expect to make it back to 100 anytime soon, but the warm-up is certainly happening here across the area.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Bearer of okay news.
Always.
Right.
All right, so when is the bad news, Kevin?
Yeah, so by the end of the week, we're going to be back closer to average. This time in August is typically when we're right around 90 degrees. Now, just because our average temperature is 90 doesn't mean we should be at 90 every single day, right? We're usually within a couple degrees of that. And we're going to be at that mark here through the afternoon. I expect to get here into the 80s. In fact, I've got your pool forecast here. Let's see if we can pop that up. There we go, into the low 80s later on today with a 10% chance of rain. So a 90% chance of staying dry. It is going to be pretty nice across the area. But as you were alluding to, all good things must come to an end. And look, 88 versus 83 is only a little bit of a feeling difference to me, right? Like, it's not going to be all that much. It's not like we're going to go from 83 to 100. And again, the heat index values are not going to be that bad either, but still a warm up nonetheless as we work our way here towards the back half of the week across the metro Atlanta area. Some numbers we haven't seen in a week and a half, 2 weeks, but it is going to still be below average, believe it or not, below that number of 90 through the afternoon. Now, here's the interesting thing today. You ready for this? I've been talking about it all morning. An easterly breeze, which means it's bringing in cooler air around an area of high pressure, except for northwest Georgia. Any idea why that might be? It's because of the mountains to the east of them. That cooler air is not really able to get over the mountains. So 83 in Blairsville, but 88 over in Rome this afternoon.
Wow.
They're going to see a little more sun over there, and they're not going to see as strong of an easterly breeze, which means the temperatures are going to be able to get a little warmer. And it's not going to just be Rome. It's going to be Cartersville. It's going to be Calhoun. It's going to be Dalton up towards Catoosa and Lafayette, and that whole area up there going to be running a little warmer than the rest of us. But the rain chance, that's going to be the same for everybody at about 10% today. And then we're going to be up to 30% tomorrow, followed by 40% on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So here's your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast here. Nothing crazy jumping out at me, just a steady warm-up. Rain chances each and every afternoon. This is about what we're used to for August. But looking beyond next Friday, I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at me saying, oh, we're going above average. Oh, it's going to be really hot. Or, oh, this or that. It's just kind of the run-of-the-mill stuff as we get to the middle part of the month.
Yeah, and we're getting towards that, when I used to work in Savannah, we're inching towards the August, September, October, which always seems to be the busiest time of the year for hurricane season. Yeah. And I can't believe we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of Katrina.
Right, so that's going to be the last week of August is the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, and the peak of hurricane season is September 10th. So that is coming up fast. And I was showing you just a little bit ago, we're watching those two areas of some potential tropical development. The first area that's in the central Atlantic right now, even if it were to become something which I'm not expecting it to, unless you are walking the dog in the North Atlantic Ocean, it's not going to be a problem for you. It's even going to be east of Bermuda, not even close to them. But there is another wave rolling off the coast of Africa, and the National Weather Service, or the National Hurricane Center, which is part of the National Weather Service, drew the outlook pretty close to the Lesser Antilles, which just being pretty blunt about it. But it has a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days. So, to your point, we're getting towards the peak, which means we are watching those waves with a closer eye than maybe, say, in June. Not seeing as much dry air in those spots. So, yeah, it bears watching. The next name on the list is Erin, E-R-I-N.
Okay.
So that's going to be what we're looking at for.
Okay, yeah. You said September 10th, and it made me think we had Irma.
Yep.
And it hits right at that. It was I.
Yeah. So you make a good point there. The most retired names for a letter is I. We're running out of I names, and that makes sense, right? Yeah. Because the way you typically progress through hurricane season, you get your strongest storms about that time, September, October, and based on climatology, that's typically when you get to the I name storm.
Fun fact, I'm a hurricane baby.
Really?
Yes.
Which one?
I am Hugo.
Okay, there you go.
Hurricane Hugo hit Charleston on Sunday, September 24th. 1989. All right, you know how old I am now. Okay, but my mom was in Atlanta, but it was the barometric pressure that dropped. So I was early. It was crazy, and I didn't know it was a thing. Did you know it was a thing?
I did.
Of course you knew it was a thing, but a lot of people didn't know it was a thing. Yeah. So now it's I warn all my friends when if they're expecting around this time, I'm like, there's a hurricane, and they're like, what?
Yeah. Well, and you make a good point in terms of the pressure change and the effects on the human body. That's the reason why sometimes people will say, oh, I have a feeling it's going to rain because my
Yeah.
joints are sore. That is literally the pressure changing. That's going from high to low pressure.
Yeah.
You get rain when a low pressure system's moving in.
Yeah, so it's
all
great.
connected.
And it's all connected. So
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, fun fact, cool. Well, thanks so much. We will take a short break. We come back, we continue to follow breaking news, new developments in the CDC shooting, flags flying at half staff for that fallen officer. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. Flags flying at half staff this morning for the fallen officer David Rose, who was shot and killed during that active shooter incident just less than 12 hours ago near Emory University. I want to show you a picture. There he is, David Rose, the suspected shooter. We now know his name, but again, the community is rallying this morning. They are mourning the loss of a father, a Marine. The 33-year-old, he joined the department in September of 2024, served in the North Central Precinct. He is survived by his wife, 2 children, and had a 3rd child on the way. Meanwhile, in the last hour, we actually just are learning more about the alleged gunman, 30-year-old Patrick White. We want to hear from a neighbor. Take a listen.
Walking around the neighborhood, seemed like a okay guy. I mean, communicated with him a few times. I know he did work for my grandfather around the house, like blowing leaves, cutting the grass, stuff like that. But I didn't really know him too much to comment on his character. But from what I've seen outside the house, he seems like a okay guy. I don't know what his motive would have been. I don't know if he knows anybody up there. Maybe did him wrong. I couldn't tell you that, but just from what I know about him, he seemed like an alright guy.
And again, you don't have any indication or any idea why he would be in that area?
I had 0 clue, and when I seen the cops, I was wondering what was going on, and they finally talked to my dad, and I was like, there's no way, Patrick. I feel like I've known Patrick for most of my life. Not really known him, but, like I said, seen him around the neighborhood. Not the kind of person I would thought to do that, but stuff happens. So.
Did you ever talk with him?
I talked with him briefly, now and again. He'd come by the house and be like, hey, your grandfather wants this done. And, but that's about it. Nothing really, no deep conversations or nothing like that.
Did he work in other neighbors' yards? in homes?
He pretty much worked around this little area. He had a few, I guess, customers like around the neighborhood that he would go and do yard work for. But besides that, I don't know what he did for a living.
When you heard the news, when you heard that he was the suspect, what went through your mind?
I just couldn't believe it was him. It feels so weird to be so close and connected to a tragedy.
Yeah.
So.
Describe a little more about when the officers were here last night. You know, again, what time did they come? How many did you see?
There's like, I don't know, around 10 cop cars, and they, breached up to the house, got the parents out. I don't think they knew until they showed up either, so I don't know if they were in contact with them, but just a wild scenario.
About how long were they here last night?
About 3 hours, because I went to bed around 2:30 and they were still here, but they were kind of dwindling off. So maybe 3-4 hours.
And it was around 11:30 you said they first got here?
Right, and I went to bed at 2:30, so they were probably here till 3:30, 4, so late night.
What was going through your mind when you saw all of them pull up last night?
I was just thinking, I was peeking out my window, and then we came down here and watched outside, just wondering, what's going on. And then finally they came down and told us what had happened. It's surreal that it was him,
And you think he grew up in this house?
He did, yes, sir.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. Lived there with his parents?
Correct.
Anybody else live there?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I know they had family rolling in and out every few months, like visiting, but that's about it.
Okay.
Just them three for the most part.
And thanks so much for streaming with us. We appreciate it. We have continuing coverage online, fox5atlanta.com. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Y'all have a great Saturday. We'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, coming at you with a great half hour of content, but we start with an interview with an Oscar winner. So The Knife is a really intense new drama. It was directed by